And good evening one, good evening all, welcome back. For the first time in a while, we are here in the midweek. And indeed, yes, Chris JT 1985, it is time for some chaos. Usual trope for one of my streams, really. And if you have kitties climbing through your window, well, that's the cat distribution system doing you a solid. But one more time, welcome. The chat box is over in that direction. If you want to copy what Chris has been doing, get your comments in there. And we'll do what we can to get into all of you. So this game, Chaos Head Noah. I came across this when I was at Anime North a couple of years back, when I went to a panel about Steins Gate, which is a series I did over on YouTube.com. This game is kind of connected, but not. And that's all I know. So with that in mind, let's get started. Eyes were above me, their gaze down around the rain. Their eyes were always watching me. Their gaze passed through the thick black rain clouds and came down on me like rain. Don't look at me. More than the rain's chill, the cold of the rubble beneath my back, my body shivered endlessly. It's so cold. And the gaze that bored into me from above the sky, whose it was, I don't know. I lifted my head a little and looked around, seeking a way to escape it. I saw the shattered remains of a city. I saw despair. I saw death. I saw nothingness. Nobody was there. Nobody was moving. Nobody was alive. All I heard was the unending sound of falling rain. Was the rain going to keep falling until it washed away everything, the living and the dead, until it had gently submerged everything and swept it away? A part of me hoped this was all just a simple delusion, but I guess I wasn't so lucky. My body refused to move. The only things I could move were my head and my eyes, and just barely at that. My body was shaking, but that was just an involuntary reflex. It wasn't my will. I didn't want my body to shake. If my body wouldn't listen to me, then it wasn't really my body at all. Maybe it never listened to me in the first place. Nobody knows where the soul is really kept, after all. So who could be sure that my soul was really inside this body? But if that was the case, then where was I? Was I here? Was I nowhere? In this broken world where nothing moved, I suddenly heard a sound that wasn't the rain of death. A single someone came out from the nothingness. Who are you? Do you look so pale because you're cold? Or because you're dead? But she wasn't shivering, and her eyes, which were hidden almost completely beneath her bangs, don't look at me. They looked so sad, but they also seemed filled with madness. They seemed like they weren't seeing anything at all. If maybe the only things in this world were her and me, and we kept looking at one another like this forever, would my world be only what was reflected in her eyes? And would her world be only what was reflected in my eyes? Would the translation be any better than this? And in her eyes, I was reflected. In my eyes, she was reflected. When I thought about it that way, the world suddenly seemed so much smaller. Suddenly I heard static that sounded so pretty. Her head fell forward. And she spread out her hands, as if she was about to take flight towards those rain clouds, or as if she were trying to take all the rain into her hands. Oh, here we go, anime scene. And not cool if you've spent the day sneezing like mad after last night's invasion, when her head bent forward. I couldn't see the look on her face from where I lay. What the hell is she holding? What do you look like behind the veil of rain between us? I'll give you your rest now. An angel? Are those wings of light a blessing upon me? Or... Oh, now I see. I understand. Oh God, you're going to use that to kill me, aren't you? Slowly, she dropped to her knees in front of me. She was still bent forward. She embraced my head gently, and I felt relieved that she wasn't looking at me, and let her take me into her own arms. Some of the zoom-in shots here don't work, she whispered in my ear, the pretty static. But I couldn't make out what she was saying. Oh, really? Seriously? I felt something warm, soft, gentle, and sweet. Ugh. It was like a drug. Strangely, I felt my body shaking slow, then stop. The faint sensation of her breathing tickled my cheeks. I smelled something so very sweet. Suddenly, I felt the pressure on my chest. The huge sword in her hands tore through the skin, ripped through the meat behind it, slid between the bones, and sank through my body. And sinking through my body. But her kiss was like a drug. And I felt no pain. She was going to kill me in such a gentle way. Suddenly I felt sad, like my tears were going to start overflowing. And to stop myself, I looked over her shoulder at the dull, grey, rainy sky. Was the sky so blurry because of the rain? Or because of the blood in my eyes? I didn't feel the gaze anymore. There was nothing left. As I fell into unconsciousness, I reached my hand up toward the sky. Someone, tell me, where did that sky of ours go? I mean, if you're going to fantasize about being murdered, I'm guessing this is the actual intro now. And this is an instant copyright, I know this. I actually think the vocalist singing this song is the one who actually does Gator Steiner from Steins Gate as well. So for those of you here last week's stream, this clip might be familiar. So it's giving me a kind of corpse party kind of vibes, this. It's interesting, Avian. You reference how a couple of the characters remind you like they come from Doki Doki Literature Club. Well, I think that's because Doki Doki Literature Club takes from so many of the classic visual novel tropes. Dan Salvato, in the outro letter, explained that, so it wouldn't surprise me if it was games like this, Corpse Party, maybe even the early Danganronpas that were a big influence on DDLC. Or as you say, it could have been the other way around. This game could have been inspired by DDLC. Who knows? Oh, that was the prologue. Now, bizarrely, you can't actually see the achievement tile because for whatever reason it's not captured the right way. You can't see a gaze. It can see you, but you can't see it. It's weird. For as long as I could remember, I'd often felt a gaze staring at me from somewhere. It was like the eyes of someone looking into my soul as they talked. I would turn around and nobody would be there, but I'd be sure someone was looking at me. This feels oddly familiar. I'm pretty sure it's the lyrics to the song Fear of the Dark by Iron Maiden. I could feel this sensation, like something crawling on my neck. Was I just too self-conscious? Stop it, game. Don't call me out like that. Did I have some kind of phobia about being looked at? This is the lyrics to Fear of the Dark. I have a constant fear that someone's always there. I have a phobia that someone's there. They've literally ripped off the lyrics to Fear of the Dark. Up until elementary school, I honestly believed that it was God. God is watching me, I would say. I wrote an essay about something like that. I got an E grade. Of course, looking back, I realised how silly it was. I was the biggest Chuny dog. I'm guessing that's Chuny Biu, which is what Koin Kiyoma talked about in Steins Gate, I'm guessing. It looks like I was the same kind of lingo. If somebody were to ever read that essay, I'd be so embarrassed. I'd never leave my house again. I still remember the thing's title. Whose eyes are those? The back of the chair I was resting in made a creaking sound, like the voice of an old woman. I don't think I've ever sat in a computer chair and heard it made a noise like that. Has anyone else been in that situation? That's not familiar to me. The Anime Girl poster, I'm going to plead the fifth on. Don't look at me. I whispered those words as I looked up at the ceiling, feeling sick and annoyed. Of course, no one responded. This was my room. I lived alone. Nobody was here but me. Just for the hell of it, I turned around. The room was longer than it was wide, and it was a little dark. Well, considering it appears that we're living in a container, I'm not surprised it's a little dark. Who the hell lives in a storage container? Are we all at sea? Shh. The only light in the room came from my computer's desk light. Fair, Chris, yes. The creaking you can relate to, but you're not sure on the old woman point. I understand. There were no windows, so of course it was dark. Since I had no way of looking outside, I had no way of knowing if it was night or day. Except for the fact I was looking at a computer with an outside internet connection, so there would be a clock on it somewhere. I turned toward a corner of the dark room, and spoke to no one in particular. Despite the overabundance of anime waifus that I'd modelled and stylized in far more fastidious detail than Persona V's Futaba did.
僕の名前は西條匠、17歳。水明学園2年。と言っても学校にはほとんど行ってないけど。
My name is Takumi Nishijo. I'm 17 years old. I'm a second year student at Suyume Academy. I barely ever go to school though.
まあそれでも勉強はできる方だよ。
Well, I guess I'm pretty smart at least. In my own mind where no one can hurt me.
定期テストはちゃんと受けてる。しかもそれなりに上位の点数を取ってるからね。
I always show up to take my tests, and I usually get above average grades.
頭はいいんだ。
Yeah, I'm pretty smart. Of course, nothing happened when I said this. Nobody appeared out of the darkness. The dark space just existed, silently. But darkness stimulates the mind, makes it see delusions. Not being able to see whatever's there makes it an unknown. You know in your head what's impossible, but somewhere inside your heart, you imagine terrible things lurking within the darkness. Like rabid Donald Trump fans. That was my interpretation, Chris. The game technically never backed me up on that one. I could have been underestimating him. Jeez. Whenever a scary delusion popped into my head, my mind always ran away with it. I kept talking to try and shake it out of my mind.
僕は現在アウェイじゃなかった。渋谷で一人暮らしをしてる。
Right now, I live alone, away from home. I mean, in Shibuya.
この紅会館ビルは父さんの経営するビル会社の管理下にあるんだけど。
I live on top of the Kurenai building, which my dad's real estate company owns. And no, I can't explain why I live in a shipping container. I didn't build the building.
その屋上に設置されたコンテナハウスを格安で借りてるんだ。
And then ironically the game explains it for me anyway, just to shut me up. They rent me a really cheap little house here, made out of a shipping container. I mean, I'm pretty sure that would be, like, getting a shipping container onto a building like that would be a logistical nightmare, especially in the center of Tokyo. If you've ever been to Tokyo, space is at a premium. Getting a lorry to carry a shipping container down there is not easy.
街の環境は最悪。僕が住んでる新船町は小さな坂が多いから疲れるし、すぐ近くにラブホ街もあるし。
Living in this city sucks. This part of Shibuya I live in, Shinsencho, has lots of little hills that tire you out when you're walking. There are a bunch of love hotels right next to where I live too. And if you don't know what they are, be thankful.
ここが秋葉なら最高だったのに。
I really wish I lived in Akihabara. It's the ultimate Chunibi paradise. There are maids, gaming, idols, and all kinds of stuff. Electronics by the Lord.
ほんと渋谷ってひどい街だ。円数で言うと、ディーンズバレーくらいひどい。
Yeah, Shibuya's a total shithole. It's as bad as Dean's Valley in ESO. ESO was the MMORPG that I had made my life's work. Hold on, are we suddenly going into Sword Art Online here? The guy's a paladin, his name is Nightheart? Nightheart? Really? Level 50 with 120948329 experience, whatever the fuck that totals. I don't know, you tell me. You don't know what an MMORPG is. Well, if you want to know more about that, go to my youtube.com/@swishball where you can see my playthrough of Final Fantasy XIV. Smooth as broken glass on sandpaper. It's short for Empire Sweeper Online. I spent almost all day, and almost all night, playing the game, passing my time in the world of Baselard. Dean's Valley is an area in ESO with a lot of really aggravating monsters in it. They use all kinds of obnoxious status ailment attacks, but they don't even drop decent items. It's kind of like trying to grind for stuff in Shin Megami Tensei. Yeah, 1.2 billion experience, Chris. Maybe you had the 4 times the XP booster like Queen and I did when we were playing Final Fantasy IV together. Go check out youtube.com/@queen4210 to see more of that. Anyone who grinds there is an idiot, which is why I'm there right now. Good players give up on it quickly and head to the next area, the Forest of Leet. And obviously, I'm a good player.
というわけでドキュンと恋愛資本主義者が集まるこんな街は即刻滅ぶべきだね。
So yeah, this town with its DQNs and love capitalists needs to be blasted off the face of the earth. What's a love capitalist? How does that work? Is he calling out the owner of Tinder or something now?
でもこの部屋の住み心地はまあまあ我慢できるレベル。
This room, though, isn't so bad.
PC とネット環境は最高水準クラスが揃ってるからね。
My computer and my internet connection are both first rate.
まあ学生にしては上等の基地じゃないかな。あ、だから僕はこの部屋のことをベースって呼んでる。
For a student, I guess it's a pretty good base of operations. Oh, that's why I call this room the base. Of course, nothing in the room moved except for me. talking to myself was starting to make me feel like an idiot, so I decided to stop introducing myself to whoever was watching me. Leave the fucking fourth wall alone. Stop it right now.
それにしても汚い部屋だな。
This place is freaking filthy though. It smelled moldy. The air was so stale and damp you could feel it on your skin. Ugh. The floor was piled high with empty plastic drink bottles and trays left over from convenience store lunches. The bed was stacked high with H games. I always ended up having to sleep on the sofa.
片付けろよな。誰だよ散らかしっぱなしにしたのは。
Clean your room, you filthy sicko. What idiot made this mess anyway? Oh. I guess it was me. My creepy laugh kind of annoyed me, so I kicked a plastic bottle at my feet. It flew up, almost high enough to hit my figure shelf. I screamed and leaned forward, using my own body to block it. I've got almost 100 waifus, big sisters and... Wait, what? The waifus is bad enough, but the other two? What kind of loser am I playing here? Don't answer that question. Don't you dare. And I can't let them get hurt. They keep me going, so they're very important to me. Looking at your collection of games anyway, but you're not feeling called out, are you? I cleaned and organised the shelf once a week. It was the only cleaning I did. Every day I tried to find new angles and positions to make them look cuter. I didn't want my beloveds getting dusty, so I always made sure to clean them. I breathed a sigh of relief and tossed the bottle into a corner, then faced back toward my PC. It sat in the far corner of my room. Next to the monitor was a figure from my favourite anime, BT, or Bloodtune, the animation. Yeah, better than British Telecom. Seiratan, 1/8 scale, pre-awakening version. She smiled at me while posing cutely. Yeah, she's posing really cutely with that fucking studded baseball bat that she's got behind her back. It's the kind of cute smile before she rinses your skull 1,000 times. The dude's got a type.
Sarah, かわいいよ, Sarah.
Sarah, you're so cute, Sarah. I whispered as Seiratan and I stared into each other's eyes for a minute. Then I gulped down the bottle of soda next to the computer. It was lukewarm, but that didn't bother me.
さてと、縁すらないと。
Now then, time for some ESO. I sank down into the chair and put my hands on the keyboard. Just the act of sitting at the computer was enough to palm me. My character, yes, Nightheart, was a paladin, already on his second reincarnation. He was level 50, the max, of course. He was also the highest ranked player on any active server. Almost every player knew the name Lightning Fast Nightheart. Oh my god, it is fucking SAO. Lightning Flash was the nickname for Arsena, who was a single sword user in that game. Queen, where are you when I need you? And they all treated me like a god. Rare weapons, rare armour, rare magic. I had it all. I had 95% of all the rare items in the game. Not as many as I wanted, honestly, because I wanted all the loot. Give me all the loot, game. Now this guy's sounding dangerously close like me. And I had more money profits than I could ever use in a lifetime. RMT, or real money trading, was how I made money to use in the real world. I had enough to survive for 6 months without having to get a part-time job. This game came out before Diablo 3 with the real world auction house, to my knowledge. That's kind of scary that it predicted that. I was a master of the chat tool. WTF Hacksaw BBQ. I used it for almost all of my communication. I'd even saved a life on Atchan, a huge message board once. And I was always there whenever a festival was going down. Oh, right. And I had way more than 100 friends on Freepera. That's a social network. Respect, trust. It was all right here. I didn't go to school. It wasn't I didn't want to go. Just there was no point. I did all my studying on the internet. And obviously you can do that at home. Technically it's also called studying at home during the pandemic as well. This is getting freaky. Of course, you need to attend a certain number of classes to graduate. So I went just enough to get the bare minimum passing grade. This was the smartest way for a student to live. My parents are pretty obnoxious about this stuff. So I made myself a schedule when I go to school. I mean, that schedule is actually way more intense than any of my studying. I mean, 7 classes on the Friday? Who did that many classes on a Friday? I agree, Chris. Yeah, it is feeling a bit odd. I think we're all getting called out now. You're not wrong. According to the sheet, all I had to do was go to school 2.5 times a week. The people who went every day call me a creepy otaku. Or just an otaku. Both work. But if you ask me, I'd tell you that they were morons for going just because someone told them they should. Anyway, my life here's not that bad. Oh, crap. I got so distracted by that gaze I forgot I was talking to Grim. Grim was the screen name of a guy I was always partied up with in ESO. I never met him in real life, but we talked all the time online. Again, that's feeling kind of called out as well. If you know, you know. He brought me a lot of valuable information. He was like my own personal informant, you could say. I sat down and began to type at the keyboard. Really? He gave us a tip for LOL? Are you kidding me? Sorry. I didn't fall asleep, but I kind of spaced out, lol. You must be really tired. You're not sleeping enough? I'm not reading that third line. All day, all night? Oh, God. We're playing Hisifumi from Danganronpa. Actually, I'm not into 3D girls, lol. We're more into the 2D variety. Ugh. Grim and I would talk about all kinds of things. Since I couldn't see his face, it was easy to tell him anything. Of course, in the real world, that's not how it would go. So you're a 2D man, and then H games? You're really in a hentai mood tonight, huh? You always have really perverted delusions though, right? You used to always talk about them. You were really into them. Something about doing naughty things with a girl in a school swim. Ugh. Yes, people called him a creepy otaku at school because it was true. Was I? I don't really remember. Anyway, if that's what you want to talk about, let's discuss something near to my heart. This could get really rather weird. The only way out is through, people. Buckle up. School swimsuit and glasses. What? Oh my god, I have to choose. Oh. This should be called Otaku Simulator. Not Chaos Head Noah. This should be called Otaku Simulator. Oh my god. So, do we like them or not? Yes or no? No, I don't, Chris. I don't have your foresight. This is now M-rated. It's possible they were Avian, yes. The Song of Memories stream, if you watched that way back in the day. YouTube.com/that/swishbone if you want to see more of that. And if you do, no judgment here, I played it. I'm going to go with no. Competition swimsuits are better than school swimsuits. Well, purely because I'm not going to objectify schoolgirls, I'm going to say yes, but I don't like either of these options. This is not my choice. The swim cap is a must. What? I know quite a bit about Japanese culture, but I've never heard a discussion of swim cap or no swim cap. That's new. I'm speechless at that one. I'm gonna go no because I'm from the West. We don't really use them. Come on, man. You really like swimsuits, huh? Ugh. What man doesn't? I mean, really? It's not just about showing... Who in the arse wrote this fucking script? Who wrote this shit? Just showing skin, you know. A fully dressed girl with... This is getting worse. This is getting worse. A fully dressed girl with no panties is sexier than Panmarora, right? It's the same deal. I mean, I'm okay with you. Oh, I'm sure you're glad you're enjoying this, Chris. Oh, you're enjoying this. What? Are you telling me you don't understand how hot no panties stuff is? I like my girls totally naked. You don't understand Moe at all. A complete and utter perv. That's our Nightheart. We fear him, but we love him. Well, thank you all very much, everybody, and good night. Calm down, man. I mean, maybe I did get a little excited. I tried to be a cool, silent type. Cool? Don't laugh. Anyway, what were we talking about before I fell asleep? I mean, I'm sure it was ESO stuff. You forgot? Come on, man. We were talking about the murders in the 3D world. The murders in the 3D world. I'm actually not sure how that all works, to be perfectly honest. We do actually have a tips list. And, apparently we've got all of these. Some of them aren't even on there, so I'm not even sure how. Like, for example, Chuni. Look at it, it actually gives a full dictionary definition of what Chuni is, which is crazy. It's like, a word used to describe the slight strange behavior seen in adolescent Japanese boys. Also used to describe people who are no longer adolescents, but who still behave like adolescents. A Chuni might make antisocial or nihilistic statements, or engage in activities that seem to blur the line between fantasy and reality. Or they may act in grown-up ways despite being a child. The Chuni themselves may think they look very cool, but from an adult perspective, they look ridiculous. A subject thinks he's cool, but he makes it anyway. The word itself comes from the Japanese for second year of middle school, the age when this behaviour is thought to be most prevalent. So just to give you an idea of the kind of insanity we're up against here, people, might as well make a save while we can. What was he talking about? Oh, it was someone called Shogun's now, isn't it? Hello, Shogun! Sup? I said, but Shogun didn't reply. Was this arsehole ignoring me? I was trying to be friendly here. Didn't he know who I was? I was lightning fast Nightheart, damn it! This is supposed to be a no lurker channel anyway. Well, whatever. I decided to ignore him. Yet I'll teach him. I can let him type a message and I won't care if he doesn't read it. That's the nice thing about the internet. You don't have to care about other people unless you want to. Good evening, Queen. Yes, saying you need an adult. There are no adults around here anymore, Queen. I can tell you that for free. I thought Steins Gate was ridiculous. This is getting even worse. Now, actually, before we go any further, I will say one thing. When Spike Chunsoft, the creator of this game, it actually got ported first to the Switch. They wanted to release it on Steam. And initially Steam refused to allow it to be sold, saying it violated their guidelines. And they got a massive protest poll to get it on Steam. So I'm technically playing a game that was banned, but it's not. You can still buy it on Steam, believe it or not. But it was actually initially not allowed to be sold. Maybe Gabe had a reason. Maybe Gabe was on point here, people. I don't care about anything 3D. I think it was, Chris, yes. I think it was first announced in maybe 2018 or something like that. I know that if you actually go into the game on Steam, it has like a community note saying this is now coming out, and it's dated like in 2021, I think, or something like that. It's probably something stupid anyway, right? Yeah, I guess. But it's pretty shocking still. Shocking. Some kind of grisly serial killings or something. A lot of bad stuff have been happening lately. More Guro pictures? Oh, right. You can't handle Guro, lol. I mean, I can handle it. No, I actually didn't want to see any of that stuff. But there were a lot of fakes and altered images going around lately, and trolls love to set all kinds of traps. You ended up seeing a lot of stuff whether you wanted to or not. Well, I guess I'm starting to get used to it. And to think you're the strongest paladin in base, lad. I don't PK though. PK meant player killing. Because yes, Queen, this game has what's called ESO. And we're known as Lightning Fast Nightheart. I think someone had been playing SAO before they made this game. Or at least reading it. It's when you attack a stranger and steal their equipment or money points. Only DQNs did that. DQNs were thugs and losers. The lowest form of life. Why are you looking at me? Why are you looking at me as if I'm the one who goes around killing other players and stealing their loot? I'm not being defensive, by the way. I'm no chew. I don't do things that will make other people upset. I never violate ESO's rules. That's my policy. I did a shit ton of RMT, though. Yeah, you're the hero we all love in the door, Mochitsuki. New generation. You know about it, right? Huh? New generation? What the hell was that? It wasn't something I already knew about, right? Grim seemed to act like I was supposed to know about it. What's new gen? The new generation madness. They call it new gen online for short. It's the weird serial murders going on in Shibuya right now. It's all happening right near your house. LOL. Oh, right. It was coming back to me. But I only knew the basic outline. I hadn't really looked into it. I searched for new gen and got a hit immediately. Mio, is that delude? Is that what it's saying as the replacement for Google? Delude? Very true, Chris. Yes, I don't like playing online games anymore. At one time I did, but a lot of idiots have infiltrated the game, sadly. Killed the vibe. Although, shockingly, Final Fantasy XIV has kind of changed my opinion. I was in a dungeon and I kept getting killed by Doom. And someone actually typed how to avoid it and cure the status effect. That never happens. You're not supposed to help me. You're supposed to laugh as I'm constantly dying. And kick me from the party for bringing the group down. Let me see.
この1ヶ月の間に渋谷で発生した2つの事件のことをニュージェネと呼ぶ。
The two incidents that have taken place in Shibuya over the past month are referred to as New Gen.
その犠牲者は胎児を含めて7人。
There are 7 victims in total, including an unarmed baby.
1つ目の事件は友人同士5人による高層ビルからの集団ダイブ。
The first is a group of 5 friends who jumped off a skyscraper together. And it looks like they left one hell of a mess there. Ugh. Well, I think Avian, because Shibuya is one of the most densely populated parts of Tokyo, along with Shinjuku, Ikebukuro, and Ueno. So that's why you see those 4 areas of Tokyo normally, because they are the most densely populated. They're mostly visited because the hub station networks. And nope, I didn't have Leroy Jenkins. If anything, I'm the one who's going to be Leroy Jenkins. Run right in and get myself killed in seconds.
2つ目の事件では男性の体内から胎児が出てきた。
I'm going to say this line out, but it makes no sense. The second was an unborn baby found in a man's stomach. How does an unborn baby get in a man's stomach? Those pieces don't fit together. I can't connect the dots there, people. Because, Avian, if your theory is right, where did the unborn baby come from? There's a lot of chicken and egg here that doesn't make sense.
これマジかよ。
Wait, seriously? I felt a cold chill run down my spine. I found myself turning around again and glancing around the dark room. Taboo. News had a lot of old articles about New Gen, so I quickly skimmed them. Supposedly the whole internet was talking about it, calling it a new generation madness. There were two incidents. One was a murder case that was so brutal that some TV stations weren't even willing to have their anchors describe it. And the first one, a group dive off a skyscraper. There were rumours it might have been a murder too. Yes, I mean, that is one way it could have happened, Avian. We shall see. Yes, Chris. Don't have nightmares. Do sleep well. Also, I like the fact they called it Nippon Taboo. That's actually clearly Yahoo Japan. Because Nippon is Japanese, and Taboo is obviously a fictionalized version of Yahoo. The parents and friends of the deceased all said they weren't the type to commit suicide. And that's me censored from YouTube because I said the S word. Fuck self-censorship. There was no sign of a motive. And from a lot of other pieces of circumstantial evidence, it was supposedly impossible to believe that they were about to kill themselves. I took a quick look. Well, starting to shake and shiver. Not really. Don't care. Here.
グリムのやつ、僕をバカにして楽しんでるな。
Look at this, lol. What is it? A picture of the corpse. Grim's enjoying making fun of me, huh? So, when he clicks the link, what's the meme image he's going to get, people? Get your answers in the chat. What's the meme image he's going to get instead of the one that he actually is meant to see? And before that happens, I'm going to do another quick load. Or quick save, I'm sorry. Oh god, Chris, I fucking hope not. If they ask me that question again... He did this stuff sometimes. But if I let him get me, I'd lose my reputation as Nightheart. No matter what I was in the real world. In ESO, I was a god. The strongest. I knew everything. I was stronger than everybody. I was a knight fighting for justice. Nobody was going to make fun of me. And to top it all, you play the tough guy. Meanwhile, you think he's going to get sucked into the screen, Avian. Meanwhile, Rickroll. A classic there, Chris. I worked up my courage and clicked on the URL. What the hell was this picture? Better than any art I could draw. Well, there's a lot of swords there. It's like 28 stab wounds. Oh, you got me. Lol. Who drew this? I waited about 2 minutes just now. You're our generation's Picasso, lol. Anyway, that was fun, but I'm gonna sleep. Night. See you tomorrow in Baselard. Oh, right. That Shogun guy was still here. I totally forgot about him. Not that he mattered. Assuming it's a he, it might not be. I wasn't feeling that tired, so I decided to do some grinding in ESO. Oh, wait. Today was the day Bloodshun aired. I didn't have a TV in my room. All I needed was a PC.
あと15分ぐらいか。その前にトイレでも行っておこうかな。
Just 15 minutes till it starts, huh? I guess I'll go to the bathroom first. I looked at the figure of Saratan next to my monitor and grinned. I was going to get to see her today. I couldn't wait. Ugh. Yes, he gets to see his anime waifu, people. Just as I went to close the chat window, though.
あれ?
Huh? Shogun had typed something.
なんだよこいつ急に。
Why is he talking all of a sudden? I thought he was a lurker-chew. From the file type, it looked like a link to an image, but... Someone I didn't know, and someone who never even talked to me, will suddenly send me a link. I gulped, without even realising what I'd done so. A Nigerian prince greeted me, telling me that he had $10,000, and all I had to do was send him $5 in order to get my cut of it, because he had a desperate bank account. I didn't know why, but I felt like a terrible premonition. One I'd never felt with any interaction online before. Of course, I didn't want to click it. I glanced over at the clock. There were only 12 minutes left until my date with Saratan. Date? It's a fucking TV show, you pillock. I needed to wrap this up fast. Kume's trap. Apparently that's slang used by 2000s-era Japanese otaku to refer to any type of clever trap. Kume is the Japanese name of the Chinese strategist Zhuge Liang, who was known for his brilliant stratagems. The term is often seen in hacked video games, particularly ones of extreme difficulty. So Chris, now you know how Cuphead came to be. You're welcome for that. Actually, I'm going to do another quick save before we click this link. What the heck kind of Kume's trap is this, lol? The world changes if you click it. Oh, what? I tried to act like it wasn't scaring me. Honestly, I didn't even want to talk to this guy. He was making me nervous. I could feel myself sweating. Was this Shogun guy even Japanese? If he wasn't, there'd be no way I could talk to him. Have fun, Queen. Hopefully it's not too bad for you. I say the archive will be there when you're back. He was talking normally. I felt a little relieved. Nah, it's cool, man. Why were you lurking? Did someone tell you to lurk for 6 months before you could type? I was thinking. Where are you from? For some reason there was a strange pause. Shibuya. The articles I just read about the new generation incidents came racing back into my mind. Just envisioning them in my mind was bad enough. If I'd seen them in reality, I don't think I could have handled it. A man's stomach ripped open, the body of an unborn baby stuffed inside. And when those 5 friends jumped off a building, they were probably just chunks of meat after they landed. Just imagining it made me want to vomit. I quickly shook my head to get the images out of my mind. This Shogun guy was just so shady. It was making me delusional when it didn't need to be. I wished he'd just go away. I'm from Shibuya too. A lot of weird stuff's happening here lately, huh? It's not over.
なんだこれ。
Fun times infinity 40 to the LR2. I've been playing Zero Escape 999. And as much math as I've been playing that game, I don't have a fucking clue what that is. What the heck? Was this Shogun guy just crazy? I'm really smart, and I've never seen that formula before. I decided to run a search for it. At times like these, it was great to have access to an internet connection.
あれ、ヒットしないな。
Huh? I'm not getting any hits. Was this guy just trying to pretend to be smart and writing out some nonsense formula? It didn't make any sense. This formula's murdered the possibilities of the world. I have no idea what that means. Anyway, what was that link? Incognito search for a virtual machine? That's one solution there, Chris. Am I actually supposed to click on it? Lol. I thought you might be interested. Brrr, and then we got a massive spam of images. He typed in several URLs at blinding speed. What was this guy's deal? Was he just entertaining himself by trying to scare me? Was he a buddy of Grimm's and they were having fun with me? I felt the gaze again and looked around the room, but of course there was nothing there but a filthy dark room, the same as always. I felt a strange sense of terror. Feeling like you were constantly being watched kept you from ever truly relaxing.
僕を見るな。
Don't look at me. When I said the words, I could tell my voice was shaking. My old filthy room felt like something completely different now. They say that sometimes, after you watch a horror movie or TV show, or hear a friend tell you a very, very serious story, all you can think about is just Monica. Even a place you know well, like your own house, will start to seem strange and terrifying, and you'll be too scared to even go to the bathroom alone at night. Right now, I was experiencing something just like that.
くそ、釣られたりするもんか。
I'm not letting you trick me. Shaking, I leaned toward the monitor, and I suddenly felt my right hand index finger tense up as I clicked one of Shogun's links. Hey, no! To be honest, I had no idea why I'd done that. It wasn't like my hand moved on its own, or anything like that. It was as if I'd done it without thinking. That was the only way I could describe it. And isn't it nice to see a DVD drive, optical media, even a floppy disk drive? Yeah, fuck you, Sony. Physical for life. Oh, wow, Chris, that's sane. Where now the departments have sold you a notebook to store logins and passwords. No. Don't ever write them down, people. It felt like exactly the wrong thing to do. But still, I found myself clicking it. As if the motion was completely natural.
なんだよ、これ。
Ugh, what the hell is this? I found myself staring at what seemed to be some kind of strange work of art. And I kind of like the fact that the game's kind of censoring itself here by looking at a dark wall. Something that looked like a porcupine or a pincushion nailed to the wall in the shape of a cross. And beneath the porcupine, or pincushion, or whatever the hell it was, there was a pool of something red and black. There were also all these little piles of something that kind of looked like garbage. What the hell was this? The world of some self-proclaimed avant-garde artist. You know, one of those guys who makes something disgusting and then say with a completely straight face, I wanted to give the expression to the chaos of this world. I'm not interested in that modern art crap, guys. It was strange, though. It wasn't really a Goro image. It looked Goro-ish. But that was as far as it went. And I'm guessing Goro means gore, I'm assuming. No, I don't have a definition for Goro, but believe it or not, I have one for that. Yep, that makes sense. So why? Why did it feel so real? Why did it feel like I was right there, watching it happen? Could a hallucination make you smell blood so intensely that you wanted to throw up? Could a hallucination smell so strong you wanted to vomit? I started to feel a pain in my temples. The urge to vomit wouldn't go away. I tried to grab the mouse, but my hands were shaking too badly. My hand slipped off the desk and ended up grabbing the thing's cord instead. I moved it up the cord and put it back on top of the mousepad, then closed the image. As I breathed a sigh of relief, I saw... Whose eyes are those? I glared at the minimum necessary school schedule I created. I'd never gotten to see Bloodtune in real time last night. Of course, I saw it when it was upped to MewTube, so it didn't matter. MewTube? I mean, it's one way of avoiding copyright, but it is lame as fuck. But I still didn't feel any better. The last thing Shogun had said before he'd left. It was like he knew how scared I was at God's gaze. It couldn't possibly be a coincidence. I tried to think of how he might know. Had my personal info leaked? Or was this someone from ESO who was out to get me? A godlike player like me had lots of friends, but also lots of enemies. Well, most of those enemies were just haters, though. You know, guys who were jealous of Nightheart's strength and charisma. Axe. Spray bottle to counteract in Mewtwo. Bad Chris. Very bad Chris. It was best to ignore them, I'd always found. No, that wasn't what was important right now. Even after I logged into ESO, I couldn't stop wondering who he was, to the point where I couldn't even concentrate on my grinding. And to make matters worse, today was
最悪の日だ。
the worst day possible. It was, unfortunately, a day where I had to go to school. I didn't want to go. But if I didn't follow my schedule, it might come back to bite me later. I might even end up being held back.
眠いのに。
I'm so sleepy too. I did my best to stifle a yawn as I staggered down the road to school. At my walking speed, it would take about 10 minutes to get there. Once I started moving, I only felt worse. I felt exhausted. It was weirdly hard to breathe, and there was an awful sweat dripping from every pore in my body. This always happened whenever I went to school. Why did I have to go to school at all, when all it meant was suffering? I mean, to be fair to him, I can relate to that. School was suffering. It was fucking shit. I mumbled to myself as I stared down at the white lines on the asphalt, but I kept going. My route took me through Shoto Park. Once I was through the park, the school was right there. As I walked by a lake, I could see an older couple out for a morning walk, and a salaryman sitting on a bench reading the sports section. Ah, you're in agreement with me, are you, Chris? I say, school. Less said about it, the better. For a park on the outskirts of a major downtown area like Shibuya, it was quiet. It was a perfect place to relax. I sat down on one of the benches. Every day I went to school, I would always sit here in the morning and eat my breakfast, surrounded by leaves that were gradually beginning to change colour, and watch the placid surface of the lake. Breakfast was a pastry I bought at the local convenience store. This would keep me going until evening. No, it wouldn't. A convenience store pastry would keep you for less than a fucking hour. What are you on about? It'll keep you going till the evening. I never ate lunch. Nobody wanted to eat with a creepy otaku like me, and I certainly don't want to eat alone when everyone else is in a group. Why? You gotta eat. I washed down the cream-filled pastry with a can of soda and stared up at the sky. The sky above Shibuya was always kind of cloudy, and never totally clear. This was true no matter what season it was. Having had Japanese convenience store pastries, Chris, they're really not that filling, trust me. My family's home was just a few stops away from Shibuya by train, but something made it feel like a whole different world. Oddly enough, the grey sky didn't seem to bother me. I didn't know why, but it didn't. Mainly because that sky's bluer than most times in the UK. What are you on about, grey sky? Look at it. You can't call all this grey. Look at all these patches of blue. That's not grey sky. Come to Yorkshire, then you'll know what a grey sky is. I looked at my watch to check the time. I needed to get going, or I'd be late. Being late was the one thing I absolutely couldn't do. If I wanted to only go to school 2.5 times a week, then I needed to make sure I didn't stand out at all costs. Because my attendance record wouldn't make me stand out in any way. They definitely would not notice. I needed to be like the air we breathe, completely invisible. I needed to avoid DQNs, the delinquents and thugs I hated more than anything, and teachers, and spend my day undisturbed in peace and quiet. That was my goal for school life. Suime Academy. That was the name of the school I attended. It wasn't a very old school. It had been built within the last 10 years. This meant the building was clean and new, and it was often used as a set for TV shows with a school theme. The uniform's been designed by some famous designer, and a lot of the dumber girls have chosen the school specifically to wear them. I mean, what's so designer about it? A pair of trousers look like a shower curtain and a white shirt. Even I've got more fashion sense than that. It was, in theory, a college prep school, but the school's test scores were slightly above average at best. The school rules were really strict, but they were constantly telling prospective students about how much they respected student autonomy and independence. It was pretty funny how they tried to trick you. Well, I guess the rules were really there in name only. Nobody enforced them. So maybe they weren't trying to trick you after all. After all, even somebody like me who only went to school 2.5 times a week could still graduate. Yeah, never use after all twice in succession, people. It sounds clumsy as fuck. By the time I arrived at the school gate, there were enough students around me that it was starting to get noisy. I like crowds, so I kept my head down as I started to walk through the gate. In my mind, I was repeating, "Please nobody talk to me," over and over. This is getting scarily relatable now. Please nobody talk to me, leave me alone. I'm feeling extra called out now by this game. I had a sister a year younger than me who was also a student here. She would commute from home. Oh, very clever, Chris, very clever. Indeed, it is clumsy after all. After all, it could be a translation error. It could also be poor editing, or it could also be people who've not read the script as one page and done it box by box. Either way, it's clumsy. Any day I ran into her was a disaster. Fortunately, I didn't see her today. I made it safely to my classroom. I slunk into my seat without letting my eyes meet anybody, and in typical anime protagonist trope, was sat near the window on one of the seats at the back of the class. For a moment, I thought that some of the girls who were chatting near me looked my way, but it was just for an instant. They quickly returned to their conversation without saying a word. I knew they were all thinking that I was a weird, creepy loser. But if you ask me, you 3D girls are way creepier than I am. Am I playing Incel Simulator here? 3D girls are way creepier than he is. It really feels very incelish at the moment. And that's not a good thing. Trust me on that. If you find me creepy, just don't look at me. Just pretend I'm not here. Just do that and I'll live my life without ever bothering you or anybody else. If you geeky instead keep calling me creepy all the time instead, that's your problem, not mine. That's what I always say. I just can't understand it. Maybe you want attention from the people you call creepy. Is that it? Oh my god. This is Incel Simulator. I stayed in my seat, staring down silently at the surface of my desk, trying not to move at all.
Yo, Taku.
Yo, Taku! Out of nowhere, someone slapped me lightly on the back. I jerked and then looked up, annoyed. Is today one of the days you come to school?
Misumi-kun.
Misumi. It was Daisuke Misumi, my classmate. He was standing there with a friendly smile on his face. He was handsome, and, supposedly, girls really liked him. He was also a self-proclaimed playboy who, according to him, was always dating several girls at once. Great, so we got the incel otaku loser and the harem character. Mark him on the bingo card, people! Mark him on the bingo card! From my perspective, he was a man who'd completely given himself over to the DQN side. He wasn't somebody I wanted anything to do with, but... Man, you always look so gloomy. Up all night playing games. Didn't get enough sleep? No. He was the one person in class who always tried to talk to me. He and I have nothing in common, either in terms of personality or hobbies, but for some reason he was always trying to talk to me. You got a line on the bingo card, but not the other kind of line. I mean, yeah. Either way, bingo! We got a bingo! It had been this way ever since we became classmates at the start of the year, and I never managed to figure it out. If it was a girl, I could understand it, but why would he want to talk to a guy? Well, gee, maybe he's trying to be friendly, or I don't know, maybe he likes you, who knows? Why don't you stop being such a cold-hearted bastard and actually find out?
引きこもりだからしゃあないかもしんねえけどよ。もっとこう、ハキハキ答えろって。
I mean, I know you're a hikikomori, and you never leave your house, but try to speak up when you're answering somebody's question. In case you're not aware, people, hikikomori is a person who does not basically go out where they can, as he's described there. It's a major epidemic in Japan of people who basically stay in the rooms. And live really isolated, lonely lives. To the point where there are actually people trying to counsel them to get better. I'm not sure you can really do that. If I could, I would. Just talking to a 3D person was suffering. I got so nervous my voice wouldn't even come out right. And since I wasn't used to talking, I would always stammer. I'd get so scared of saying something stupid or being made fun of that I hated talking to anybody. I mean, to be fair, that sounds a lot like someone who's dealing with deep levels of anxiety. And if he's using this kind of whole, I'm the best person in the world, everyone knows who I am, all you people don't understand me, that could be a very subconscious mask of trying to hide and deal with anxiety. And if that's what the game's going for, I can kind of applaud it, but it would have been nice to have a little more subtlety about that, rather than the whiplash effect between. Because there's a lot to be said for people who are dealing with these kind of conditions and trying to hide them through mannerisms, discussions, broadcasting on the internet to the world and pretending they're a streamer. You know, all these kind of things. You don't understand my pain. Don't tell me what to do. Oh, and I'm not a hikikomori either. A hikikomori is somebody who never leaves their room, 24 hours a day, 365 days a year. That's not who I am. Whereas that sounds like the actually, I'm not in my room 24/7, so I'm not a hikikomori. And to be fair, Chris, like, you know, why do you stay home? It has all the things I need and there's people outside. Why would I leave?
女相手に緊張するならともかく、そういう態度されると、
Oh dear.
思われるじゃねえか。
The end of this line has not aged well, people. I can understand getting nervous around a girl, but if you get something like that when I talk to you, and that's where I'm cutting that off because that reminds me too much of the shit I heard in the 90s. That reaction too. Moving on. Was he lying about dating those girls and actually into men? Who cares if he is? Seriously, who cares? I pulled my... Oh, God. Yeah, the typical... Oh, they must be into me. Again, I had a friend in high school who was gay. And when I actually said to people, who cares? He went, oh, but what if he tries anything? And I'm like, what's he going to try? What's he going to do? And they never were able to answer that question. No one could ever answer it. Because they were all homophobic twats. Still, I'm going to read the line because it's on the script. I pulled my body away from him, trying to put some distance between us, because I'm a fucking idiot. In doing so, I almost fell out of my chair, so I quickly grabbed onto my desk.
何してんだお前。
What the hell are you doing?
三角君は。
Oh! That is a car crash question. Ah, Chris, that's interesting. Yeah, you're probably not wrong on that. People projecting to not have the confidence to say who they are. And again, but yeah, I mean, that is a car crash. Never say that to people. Never. I still remember the time when I was in high school and there was a rumour that I was gay. Completely not true. One time I'm waiting for a ride home off my mother. And this random woman, who's the mother of the kid, comes up to me and goes, I've heard a rumour that you're gay. So I just looked at her and I went, Bear in mind, I'm just becoming a skate punk at this point, so my idea of being offended, I thought, no, I'm actually going to be a punk on this and call her out. I replied with, so what if I am? And her reply was, well, I'd be very afraid for my son. So I just went, yeah, I'm really afraid for your son. He could turn out to be as big a twat as you. And apparently I was the bad guy for saying that. Not the woman who was coming up to a teenager asking about their sex life. Go figure.
なわけねえだろ。
Huh? Of course not. Did you forget about all those girls I'm dating?
だよね。
Oh,
ビビった。
right. Phew. You scared me for a second. Again, because I'm a homophobic twat.
ちなみに、
And what's more... Masumi looked around to see who was nearby, before suddenly lowering his voice. He gave me a mischievous grin.
昨日、このクラスの女子で3人目をした。
I slammed my third girl in this class yesterday. You want to hear who it was?
いいよ、別に。
No, not really.
だよ、もっと興味示せよ。田中だぜ、田中。
Oh, come on. Act interested. It was Tanaka. Tanaka. No, Serenity, Jigo Metsuminaka, Mina no Yoko no Tomo. It's amazing commodities. And if you want to know more about that, just go check out the Persona 3 stream.
田中って誰？
Who's Tanaka?
お前、もうすぐ10月だったよ。未だに同じクラスのやつの顔を覚えてねえのか。
It's almost October and you don't even know the names of your classmates yet?
ま、3次元に興味ないんじゃ。それも当然か。
Well, I guess if you're not into 3D women, that makes sense. He sighed and shrugged his shoulders. The one thing I could say for him was this. He'd never insulted my hobby. That is, my love of 2D characters. They will never be real. Yes, I'm going to crush your hopes and dreams, you
ニュージェネの話知ってるだろ
So, you heard about New Gen? To be honest, I was really surprised to hear that from him. I thought he was only interested in chasing skirts. I couldn't imagine him looking at a newspaper or reading the news.
集団ダイブの事件さあれも噂によると殺人らしいぜ
That group dive. They say it was actually a murder. Huh?
マジだって書いてあったんだよスポ島に
Yeah, I mean it. It was in Sports Tokyo. Wait, Sports Tokyo was his source? Who could believe a thing written in that paper? Tokyo Sports, let's see if that's mentioned. Oh, it's source. Oh yeah, basically, historical thing. Good point, yes, because I forgot about that. Yes, the Miles Morales stream. Of course, you want to see more about Spider-Man Miles Morales, go to youtube.com/@ChrisJT985. Played through all 3 games. Played them live. And anyway, I already knew that. And also, I didn't care.
で聞いて驚けその殺人鬼が女でしかもかなり美人だって目撃証言があんだよ
And get this. The killer was a girl. And a hot one, too, according to the witnesses.
女
A girl? As I looked at the excitement on Misumi's face, I finally understood it. So that's what compelled him to actually pick up a newspaper. It was a girl. It only made sense, I thought to myself. Wait, did that mean he was okay with dating a murderer? As long as they were cute? In other words, Misumi is perfectly fine with dating a yandere, as they're known. If you ever find yourself receiving the affection of a yandere, it's fine. Just understand that if you look at anyone but your parents with any kind of wanting guy, you're going to be dealing with a homicide. They will kill anyone who takes an interest in you. And it might not have been Toko, Evian, but it sure as hell could have been Genocide Show. I could see myself going for that if it was a 2D girl, but... Yep, see, he likes Genocide Show, called it now. Misumi was looking out the window and off into the distant sky. He looked like he was on the cusp of achieving some great enlightenment.
どんなやつなんだろうな犯人って本当に美人なのかな会ってみて
I wonder what the killer's like. Is she really hot, you think? I'd love to meet her. This was a man who made all his decisions with his little head. I was sure of this now.
俺だけは殺されねえ自信があんだよなだってほら俺ってかっこいいだろいくら連続殺人鬼でも俺みたいないい男に会ったらコロッと惚れちゃうぜ
She might kill other people, but she wouldn't kill me. I'm sure of that. I mean, just look at how cool I am, right? Even a serial killer would fall in love with me. You say it sounded a bit like The Sims, even though it's Japanese, Chris. I mean, those kind of games are popular in Japan, so it wouldn't surprise there was some influence there. And then she wouldn't kill him, he thought. Man, talk about an optimist. I found myself feeling scared by how confident he looked.
僕は興味ないから
I don't really care.
でもよ興味ないっつったって犯人は絶対この辺うろうろしてんだぞどっかですれ違ってたりするかもしんねえし
Sure, maybe not. But you know she's probably around this town somewhere, right? You might pass her by any minute. Maybe Misumi was the killer. No, that was probably impossible. But I couldn't rule out the possibility that the killer was somebody from the school. If that turned out to be the case, maybe I could come up with something about how I'd got on PTSD and be able to graduate without going to school. No, don't do that, people. Don't fake conditions like that. It denigrates the real sufferers and makes you an asshole. Interesting. Recorded the famous... Some real famous singers recorded the songs in Simish just to be in the game. Sounds like the kind of thing weird I would do.
なあ今日俺と一緒に殺人現場見に行かねここから歩いて行けんだってよ
Hey,
まだ血とか残ってるらしいぞ
wanna go check the crime scene with me? It's within walking distance of the school. They say you can still see the blood. I didn't feel interested in the slightest. My goal for today was to get through my classes without any trouble, go home to Saratan, and then go back inside the world where I was God.
もう 小橋と長谷川は見に行ったって言ってたしよ。
Kibashi and Hasegawa said they went already too.
本当に興味ないんだ。
I mean it. I don't care. I hated to disappoint Misumi when he was so excited, but I had no intention of going. Now, this is not your stream, people. This is what the game has literally just done. We might be seeing a new mechanic here. I opened my mouth to speak out some excuse, but he wasn't listening.
そしたら犯人とばったり会っちゃったりしてな。犯人は犯行現場に戻ってくるってよく言うだろ。
Maybe I'll run into her when we get there. You know, they say the criminal returns to the scene of the crime and stuff.
で、次はタクがターゲットにされるんだ。死をもって罪を償うみたいな。罪状はそうだな。引きこもってたからってことで。
I guess you'd be your next target then. Atone for your sins with death. Like that. Your sins can be, I don't know, being a hikikomori, I guess.
僕は引きこもりじゃ。
I'm not a hikikomori. I tried to protest, but I worried that he might hate me or try to bully me and just gulp down my words. I bit my lip and looked away from him. I found myself looking around the room and saw something written on the blackboard. At first, I didn't really care what it was. All I noticed was that there was some writing there, but the more I looked, the more something seemed wrong. Huh? Finally, I leaned out of my chair.
ちょっとどいて。
Move out of the way.
おい、どうしたんだよ。
Yeah, what's gotten into you? I pushed past Misumi and walked up to the blackboard. When I saw the words written there, I felt like my heart was strangling itself in my chest. Whose eyes are those? The words I always silently said to myself whenever I felt the gaze of God. I'd never told them to anyone else.
なあ、どうしたんだ。
Oops, I accidentally skipped forward and I didn't mean to. Well, what's gotten into you? Misumi walked up to me and grabbed me by the shoulders to shake
聞
me.
いてる？
Hey, you listening?
おーい、タク。
Yo, Taku! It didn't matter who'd written them. It was just a coincidence. People use these words all the time. It was just some stupid scribbling. Yeah, just some stupid scribbling. I tried to tell myself that, but I was still really scared. I never did figure out who'd written them. I wanted to go around the class and ask, but I didn't have the courage. Before long, homeroom began. The teacher came in and asked, "Who wrote this on the blackboard?" He sounded more annoyed and erased them. It was really creepy, but I decided I was going to force myself to behave normally. If I let myself seem scared, I'd just be admitting the message had something to do with me. And it didn't, okay? It was just a coincidence. I kept telling myself that, over and over, until it was time for me to go to a net cafe after school, just like I'd planned to do. Yes, believe it or not, net cafes are still a thing in Japan, to the point that people actually use them overnight as a place to sleep, would you believe? I know because I did it when I was in Hakata, in Hokkaido one time. I had a train out at 6 o'clock in the morning, and I missed the last train. I went into a net cafe, put on some YouTube, and fell asleep on the sofa. One of the best night's sleep I ever had, oddly enough. The cafe's name was At Cafe. It was the one place I liked going. It was along Center Street in Shibuya. There were a lot of loser salarymen and DQ and 3D girls here, but you got your own personal room, so it didn't matter. The room I was in, room 37, was kind of my personal spot. It was the one furthest back in the cafe. It sucked when you wanted to go get some of the free soda, but it was relatively quiet because not many people came by. Yes, so again, going back to these overnight net cafe places, a lot of the time they have free vending machines when you get free coffees. They have showers. A lot of people use them as like homes from home. I would always come here once or twice a week on my way home from school, so I could log into ESO under a different ID. It was my way of relaxing. Nightheart was too well known, you see. I enjoyed being famous. But having to be the hero everyone looked up to all the time was stressful. That's why I like playing with different avatars sometimes. And oddly enough, that's kind of similar to Juliana Van Thorn, who I'm playing in Final Fantasy XIV. You do kind of do that. Yes, Chris, there's like rates between the night and the day, and I think you have like a special card, kind of a credit card, and you charge it. Oh, I accidentally hit my mic stand, and I do apologise. You charge it with credits, and it's just, you kind of like tap it and tap out like an Oyster card. This character was a girl. Her name was Lissalette. Lissalette didn't really have many big accomplishments to her name, though. Whenever I played as her, I made sure other characters got the glory. I worked out some tips by playing for 3 hours. Grinding, never really doing any hard content. Then I talked about dumb stuff and some naughty stuff with the rest of my guild. Which is the one thing I never got into in MMOs. Guilds. Because they are toxic as fuck. By the time I left the cafe, it was almost 9 PM. Centre Street at this hour was filled with DQNs. They would sit on the sidewalk like they owned the place, eating fast food and laughing in their disgusting voices. It made me want to vomit. And if you made eye contact with them, they'd get mad and attack you. They were barbarians. In all my time in Tokyo, that never happened to me. I've never had that happen, but then again, I'm a foreigner, so they might not bother with me. No, they weren't even human. They were worse than that. They were animals. They didn't have a shred of common social decency or intelligence. I wish they would all just die. I meant it, too. It wasn't something I was just saying. But you know, just dealing with them was a waste of time. And I wasn't the kind of guy to waste time. So I quickly left Centre Street. After leaving that cafe, I would always stop at either the nearby whatever it was I skipped ahead. Today, I decided to go to Animeite and headed for the station's south entrance. There were far fewer DQNs here. Really, Centre Street was pure chaos. Just walking through there made it hard to breathe. If I could have, I would have rather never gone there at all. I wish they'd just tear the whole place down, leaving only a cafe and Manga Drake. Anyway, it was time to look at some manga and doujinshi. Oh, and Bloodtune's 5th DVD was probably about to go up for pre-order. At some point, I found myself on a narrow street in Mariamacho. This was the route I used on my way back to the base from Animeite. I forced myself to blink several times. Then I took a look inside my bag. There were a few textbooks, along with a portable game system. I hadn't brought anything at Animeite that day. Usually, I always made sure to buy at least one thing. I sighed and started to walk. From here, it was less than 15 minutes to the base. You didn't have to get that far from the station for all the lights and neon to disappear, along with most of the people. At most, you saw middle-aged couples heading for the hotels, or salarymen heading to their homes nearby. It was quiet and calm. And because I've used the Q word, something nasty's about to happen. It was hard to believe that this was the same Shibuya as Central Street, with its horde of DQNs. It was cloudy tonight, and the moon was hidden. The street seemed even darker than usual.
まただ。
Again, I knew the route well, with its filthy, dark street. But today it felt strange, like I'd wandered into another world. Especially with the fact that it has a German phrase on the wall there, das something für und. So that's German. And yes, Chris, we experienced that too many times at work, didn't we, back in the day? Everything looked the same as always, but it felt like I was coming here for the first time. And there was this odd smell, like rotting garbage. I could feel the humidity clinging to my skin. If I hadn't known better, I would have assumed it had just rained. The air felt sticky.
いや、ちょっと待った。
No, hang on. What did I mean, again? I'd felt a sense of jamais vu before. When was it? Is that meant to be deja vu? Yep, exactly that. Originally a French phrase meaning always dreamed. Never heard of jamais vu though, that's a new one. But déjà vu, many times. Damn it. I was getting reality and my delusions mixed up. That was what the psychologist on TV said would happen if you played too many video games. Yep, that's right, people. At one point in our lives, we were all going to go insane because we played video games. The fools. As if I was ever sane. Ah, that's an old reference, Chris, but you're not wrong. Deja vu. A glitch in the Matrix. Either way, it felt like I was coming here for the first time. And that wasn't all. I felt a prickling on the back of my neck, a feeling like somebody was looking down at me. I wasn't imagining it. No matter how fast I tried to walk, the gaze kept following me. Somebody was watching me right now. Their gaze was so powerful I could physically feel it. The audience stared and laughed as I monologued into the void. I wanted to look back, but I decided not to. This was a game I sometimes played with myself. Whenever I heard a small sound or felt like somebody was watching me, I'd play the I'm not turning around that easy game. If I turned around, I lost. I know what you mean, it's a very low hum, Chris. Unfortunately, I can't do anything about it. Usually, whenever I felt the gaze, I had delusions about ghosts or monsters with incredibly scary faces. Yet throughout all 17 years of my life, I'd never turned around and actually seen something there. I'd kind of started to enjoy this game, since I knew I was probably safe. I'd listen for a moment, then raise an eyebrow in suspicion. Then I'd listen, let's say, a line from a manga. It wasn't that I was scared to turn around, okay?
貴様、見ているな。
Hey, you want a piece of me? Oh, yes, Seymour's Siren from Final Fantasy X stream. You saw my reaction, the headphones came straight off.
その目誰の目？
Whose eyes are
な
those?
んちゃって。
Just kidding. I tried to desperately remind myself that I wasn't scared, but the next thing I knew, I'd stopped walking. I could feel the tension in the air change slightly. My face was damp with sweat, and my knees were threatening to buckle. I gave in and turned around. I lost the game. Yes, you just lost the game, people. How many of you haven't thought of that in the last 15 years and are now raging as someone said, you just lost the game? But of course, there was nobody there. Not even a passing car. Hopefully we'll get through that town soon, guys. All I can do is keep going. Why did everything feel so strange all of a sudden? Oh. The ringing in my ears had stopped. Well, I called that one there, didn't I, people? I only noticed that the sound stopped. Until that moment, there'd been a sound like a ringing in my ears. But I hadn't been aware of it at all. Now I couldn't hear anything. It was suddenly dead silent. Far too silent for the middle of a city. I felt like any sound would be crystal clear. I closed my eyes tight to listen. I couldn't hear anything. This was weird. This was weird, right? Usually you could hear the sounds of distant trains, car horns, faint noise like that. So why? Were my ears broken? I wanted to scream as loud as I could. I felt like if I didn't, I'd go crazy. But I couldn't. It was so quiet. And it felt like if I broke the silence, something terrible would happen. Suddenly, a single sound shattered the silent world. I looked ahead and saw many shining things lying on the dark ground. They were scattered all over the asphalt.
十字架？
Crosses? The moment I realised what they were, my legs unfroze and began to move forward. I picked one up. It was metal, and its long tip was sharp like a needle. A stake. A nail. It was strangely shaped, so I'd mistaken it for a cross. I gripped the stake, dazed. I could hear it. A faint sound of some kind, echoing, A cold sound, one that would make your blood turn to ice. It would start, then stop, then start again. My legs kept moving forward. I walked on, as if drawn to the source of the sound. Was it just a desire to see something scary? Maybe I wanted someone to save me, to rescue me by plucking me out of this world of silence. It was like something from an old German fairy tale. Which one was it again? Oh right, the Pied Piper of Hamelin, where the piper leads over 100 children on a march with the sound of his flute. The sound kept going. It was an awful sound, like something hitting something else. As I walked on, it kept getting closer. It was coming from the back of the narrow alley on the left. Once I rounded the corner, I'd see what it was. For some reason, I didn't think to turn around. The very idea of turning around never occurred to me. It was like I wasn't in control of my own body. I walked around the corner and saw, in the darkness, brilliant red. The first thing I thought was that I'd seen something like it before. Also, that it didn't look real at all. Maybe a few screws broke loose in my mind, and my senses had just become numb. In normal conditions, I would have screamed, fallen back on my butt, and peed myself right there and then. It was something that looked like a porcupine, or maybe a pincushion. Countless stakes were nailed into the wall. As I stared at it, I realised the red blood was pouring out from beneath the stakes. The brilliant red I'd seen was a pool of blood. Faint light from the streetlights outside the alley just barely reached in, making the red glisten. There were also all these little glistening piles of something. They kind of looked like hunks of meat. I tried to swallow, but my throat was parched dry. There wasn't a single drop of saliva in my mouth. I'd realised the thing nailed to the wall by those stakes was a human corpse. This was so far removed from everyday life, so brutal, so overwhelming. And the one who'd done it, the one who pounded all these stakes into raw concrete, was a single young girl. How can I tell? Because she was standing right there in front of the corpse, holding the stakes in her blood-stained hand. Her back was turned, so I couldn't tell what the look on her face was. But the uniform she was wearing, it was Suime's. The awful smell, like raw, rotting garbage, clung to my nostrils even more firmly. Every few seconds, I felt like I was about to throw up. I put my hand over my mouth so that I wouldn't vomit. And then I finally realised where the sense of deja vu I'd been having came from. The pictures in Shogun's links. I didn't realise I'd spoken aloud until it was too late. This would prove to be a fatal mistake. I saw the girl's shoulders twitch as she heard my voice. Then she slowly turned around. Her gaze pierced me. Her eyes so flat and empty. She had killed him. Oh. She looked at me with startled, wide eyes. Her expression then shifted to something that combined a smile with tears. And then... I'm so glad, she whispered. Glad? Glad about what? Why would anyone be glad about anything right now? It didn't make sense. It was so bizarre. I felt a cold chill run down my spine and quickly looked away. It suddenly occurred to me that I didn't want to get involved in anything weird. I couldn't talk to real girls anyway. Also, she was a murderer. The cops were on their way. I was hungry too. Yeah, time to go home, time to leave. Otherwise I'd go crazy. Taku. Suddenly she said my name. I hadn't introduced myself. I'd never even seen her before. I wanted to meet you. Her lips curled upward into a terrible grin, like a demon's. I screamed, and as I screamed, I ran. I kept yelling until my throat hurt, running as fast as I could. Just once, I looked back, but she wasn't following me. I was out of breath. I could hear the sound of my own panting. I was sitting in front of my computer monitor. My whole body was soaked with sweat, and my clothes were too. I mean, Chris, maybe if you had eaten more than a convenience store pastry, maybe you actually made the right call this time. And yes, don't have nightmares. Do sleep well. What did I just see? Was that a delusion of mine? I still felt like I was about to throw up. So I went to the fridge, got a soda, and gulped it down. Because yeah, carbonation's really going to help if you're vomiting. And I get the feeling, Chris, that's going to be the crux of the game. Are we the dreamer, or are we in someone else's dream? That's what the rabbit said to Alice. Alice. It was a really realistic delusion, if I did say so myself, but way too gory. I was even still out of breath. If that was just a delusion, how could I be out of breath? That was impossible. I felt something strange in my right hand. I was holding it so tightly that my fingers had turned white. Until that moment, I hadn't even realized it. My heart pounding, I slowly released my grip and opened my palm. It was a single steak. Scared, I flung it at the wall. It was the steak from the delusion. I remember picking up one flying from the ground. But why? Wasn't that just a delusion? I don't understand. I don't understand. I don't understand. It's impossible. 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 I began to wander around the room, clutching my head in my hands. I needed to figure out if what I'd just seen was a delusion or reality. Before I could, I slipped on one of the CD cases on the floor and lost my balance. I reached out, trying to grab something so I wouldn't fall. The only thing on my reach was the shelf where my waifus resided. By the time I realised what had happened, it was too late. It couldn't hold my weight, and I ended up falling back onto the floor as figure after figure poured down upon me. Ugh, damn it. It was just awful. Everything was just awful. I moaned, and I started to see if my figures were okay. The sword from my English time from Ginger Macchio! It had broken clean in two. I'd bought that thing in an online auction and had to pay a whole bunch for it. Damn it! Damn it all! I tried to put the sword back together, but even gluing it together wouldn't really fix it. It was worthless now. I don't want to play with you anymore. Come on, this is bullshit! I kicked my chair in anger. Then I started to cry. Why did this have to happen to me? What did I do? I sat down and glumly stared at my now swordless Ignis. When the anger and confusion passed, I turned my mind toward the stranger's face and the strange sight I'd seen. The fact that I was holding the stake meant that the murder was real, not a delusion. I didn't want to admit it, but I had no choice. By tomorrow, the media would be in an uproar. I wanted nothing to do with it. Nothing at all. If I got involved with her... No, it wasn't a her. It was some kind of monster. I'd be done for. I was already pretty close to screwed anyway. I'd taken a murder weapon home with me. The police might even think I was the killer. And that demon saw my face. There was no escaping this now. Next, she'd come after me. I needed to think For my own sake. I needed to think so I could get out of this alive.
間違いない。
I'm sure of it.
あの写真は事件の予告メッセージみたいなものだったんだ。
Those photos were a message predicting the murder. And I'm going to do a quick save. Because I can. There was no other explanation for how it happened, just like in the photos. First, the girl put together fake photos on the computer simulating exactly how the murder would happen. That was her way of making the murder. No, I bet she'd want me to call it a work of art instead of a murder. Psychopaths like her always fall that way. That was her way of making sure it was perfect. As if you know anything about psychopaths.
頭がおかしいよ。
She's
でも
crazy.
どうしてそれを僕に。そもそもあの女はナイトハルトが僕だってどうやって知った？僕の名前をどうやって知った？
But why me? How did she know that I was Nightheart anyway? How did she find out my name? What was I supposed to do? She'd be coming for me before long. She knew my name and my email. She probably knew my address too. I pulled my legs up onto the chair and crossed my hands over my knees, then buried my head between them. The murder I'd seen yesterday was sheer madness. Just the thought of it happening to me.
死にたくない、死にたくない、死にたくない、死にたくない、死にたくない、死にたくない、死にたくない、死にたくない、死にたくない、死にたくない、死にたくない。
I don't want to die. 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 I don't want to die. It's okay. Huh? Sarah was lying in front of my PC monitor, smiling at
タ
me.
ッキー、あなたはこの部屋に引きこもってればいいんだよ。したらあの悪魔だって手出しできないっしょ。
Taki, all you have to do is stay here in your room. Then the demon won't be able to get you, right?
そのうちに警察がうまく捕まえてくれるって。
If you wait long enough, the cops will catch her.
それまでは誰も信じちゃダメ。誰の言葉にも耳を傾けちゃダメ。
Until that happens, don't believe
悪魔って
anybody.
さ、人の心の隙間をついてくるのが好きなんだよね。油断すんのはノー。
You know, demons like to take advantage of the weaknesses in people's hearts. So no letting your guard
で
down.
きるっしょ、タッキー。
You can do that, right, Taki?
でもセーラ、
But Sarah,
逃げるが勝ちってよく言うし。
You know, so the best way to win sometimes is to run away.
to be fair, that's a mantra I can get behind. The whole run away mentality.
三次元のことなんてきれいさっぱり忘れちゃえばいいさ。あなたには一切関 ライアンクロス約束は今
Fly and cross, fly and cross the promises now.
ライアンクロスライアンクロス果たされるから
Fly and cross, fly and cross, about to be fulfilled.
ライアンクロスライアンクロス解き放たれた
Fly and cross, fly and cross, and the end.
ライアンクロスライアンクロス終末
Fly and cross, fly and cross is now unleashed.
A clear voice echoed across Miyashita Park in the depths of the night. On top of the pedestrian bridge over Major Street, as the cars came and went below, the girl they called Fez leaned up against the bridge's safety rail, seemingly oblivious to the noise below.
月夜の光が示された従者よ
Follow as guided by the light of the moon.
She had no audience, which is just as well considering how bad I'm singing it. If she'd done a real street performance, she probably would have had at least 100 people stopping to listen. But for now, Fez had chosen instead to hide herself behind the veil of night.
この場所へつながる幻の道
Path of illusions that leads to this place.
All she had to do was stand here in the silence. Then she could be one with the darkness, and for a moment, at least, freed from the filthy air of Shibuya. That's how it seemed to her, anyway.
叫びはいつしか沈黙に変わって
Shouts soon turn to silence.
Suddenly she looked up at the night sky. The clouds that had covered it were slowly parting, and a faint ray of moonlight trickled through. But the bright, dazzling lights of Shibuya were hiding the hesitant twinkling of the stars.
落ちてゆく安息風に手と手をつないで
Feeling peace as you fall, two hands clasping in the wind.
Fez closed her mouth and reached up toward the
そ
sky.
の目誰の目
Whose eyes are those?
Ooh, so we have a potential revelation for who Shogun is, and it's not who... I wonder if she's the mystery girl that was referenced being in the other class. I spent the entirety of the next 24 hours in base lard. I didn't even quit to eat. I know someone who did something similar to that on Persona 5 once. I dedicated myself fully to erasing Takumi Nishijo and being Nightheart. In ESO, I was a god. I didn't need to be scared of any demons. Everybody respected me. I always thought of how nice it would be if I could spend forever in this wonderful world.
おおエンジェルハイロ来たこれ超レアすげえ
Hey! Ooh! I got an Angel Halo! I got one! This thing's an ultra rare! Wow! And as you say, Chris, that's a 3D model. So he can't be anti-3D, can he?
これは早速使わないと。装備。
I need to use this right now. Let me open my quit screen.
おおキャラの見た目変わったすげえこれすげえ見て見ろってグリム
Oh wow, my character's appearance changed. Awesome. This is awesome. Look, you gotta see this, Grim. Meanwhile, someone's knocking on the door. I can hear it. Huh?
ナイトハルト自重しろうっせえ死ねえよ負け組
Nightheart, cut it out. Shut up, losers. You're just
ちょっと
jealous.
町に戻って見せびらかしてこようかな
I'll head back into town and show this off. I'd finally gotten one of the ultra rare drops I wanted and was incredibly excited. All the depression I'd been feeling had just blown away.
お兄ってば
An Angel Halo had a drop rate of 0.0001%.
おーい開け
It was completely useless and just changed the way your character looked. But this also meant that everybody could see that you had an Angel Halo and they would all be really jealous. Meanwhile, you keep hearing the word agiru in the background. That's Japanese for to open.
やったナイトハルトがまた一歩壁
Oh
に近づい
no.
た
I also heard the word Oni. It's his sister. That's who's knocking on the door. Yes, Nightheart takes another step towards godhood.
開けろ
Hey, open the door!
Shut up. Who's that pounding on my door anyway? I'm enjoying my new rare item. Don't interrupt me.
バカ鬼
Yeah, uh-huh. Yep, that's another one I called, isn't it?
You stupid brother!
Good. That voice. The minute I heard it, my good mood vanished. It was an assassin sent by my parents, my little sister Nanami. This was going to be a pain in the
開
butt.
けないとひどいんだからね
It's really mean of you to not open the door!
Damn it. A storm was about to roll in. I didn't want to open the door at all, but if I kept it shut, my parents would be the next ones to come. They told me to stop living by myself and come home. My dad was pretty much the owner of this building. If he wanted to kick me out, he could. This just wasn't fair.
鬼
Brother!
Shut up. Don't yell so loud. She was still banging on the outside of the door. The walls of a shipping container are a single piece of metal, so any sound echoes really loudly. She knew that and was doing it anyway. I unlocked the padlock on the inside and opened the doors outward. I had no other choice.
あやっと出てきた
Oh, there you are!
生存確認
Survival confirmed!
She looks very familiar. Now surely he would have recognized her if that's who the character was. This tiny shrimp of a girl was my little sister. She was 1 year younger than
呼
me.
んでるんだから返事くらいしてよねお兄死んじゃったかもって思ったじゃん
At least that's the way I'm calling your name. I thought you were dead.
Every time I saw her, she was complaining about something. And you could tell from the way she was standing with her hands on her hips and pouting, she was a little brat. What hands are on hips here, people? I don't see no hands on hips. I see a cheery, hi kind of pose. And if you ask me, she was nothing more than a huge
うわ
nuisance.
相変わらず部屋の中汚ちょっとは片付けなよ
Well, your room is always such a mess. Clean it up sometime, would you?
Minami walked right into my room, without even bothering to ask if I was okay. And said, oh, there's overly peppy music as well, people. She thought she could do whatever she wanted, just because she was my little sister. So those of you out there who think little sisters are moe, I have a message for you. Get help. Seriously, get fucking help if you think anything like that about your sister. If you do, turn yourself in immediately. Don't wait for the FBI to knock at your door. Give yourself up. Face reality. Well, oh. Warning. Warning. This script here, there are all kinds of problems. So fortunately I've skipped it, but the big one that I sat there was about the sister, but he also mentioned a word beginning with L and ending with I. which is an obsession, shall we say, with... How do I say this without, I think I'm implying where I'm going with this, people. You see these two lines? You've got plenty to read between. But that's her real brother. I didn't feel that way about her, at all. If anything, I'm not reading the rest of that line either. Nor am I reading that line. Moving on.
カビクさお兄の部屋って相変わらず不潔。掃除しろっていつも言ってるじゃん。どうしてしないの？
Chris, they don't need to be with the FBI. They need taking to a black site somewhere off the coast of Antarctica, maybe.
It smells so moldy in here. Your room's just filthy. I keep telling you to clean it. Why don't you?
もうどうせ掃除してくれる彼女なんかいないだろうし。鬼ってズボラだからこうなるのは目に見えてるけどさ。
It's never the girlfriend's responsibility to clean the room. We're not in the 1950s. He lives alone. He tidies up his own shit.
Well, you don't have a girlfriend to clean it for you, and you're lazy, so I knew this would happen.
こうなったらやっぱりナナが掃除しに来てあげるしかないかな。
I guess I'll have to start coming by to clean it up for you.
Yes, Chris. Have a seat right there. Take a seat right there. You know I've seen the logs, right? And you see how this looks.
だが断る。
だが断る. But I refuse. We always have to have a JoJo reference somewhere, don't we, people?
なんでよ。
Why?
お前に部屋荒らされたくない。
Can it be any messier than it already is? I don't want you messing up my room.
とそれがわざわざ生存確認しに来てあげてる妹に言うセリフ？
That's mean. Is that what you say to your sister who came to see if you're alive?
Well, you're not showing your older brother any respect, are you? And nobody asked you to see if I was alive anyway.
まったくなんでこんな面倒ばっかりかけさせる兄弟と血つながってるんだろう。たまに嫌になっちゃうよ。
Jeez, why do I have gotta have a brother who's such a pain? Sometimes it makes me sick.
なんか喉乾いちゃった。飲み物もらうね。
I'm thirsty. I'm gonna grab something to drink.
As I might, I gotta wash this taste out of my mouth. One moment. For those in the know, there's actually something rather interesting about that poster. But I'm not going to say it on stream. If you don't catch it, I'll tell you afterwards. Something rather interestingly coincidental, that's all I'm going to say. Nanami walked to the back of the room and opened the fridge, again without even bothering to ask. Oh.
コーラスが
知らんがな。
Don't tell me what to do.
しょうがないな。じゃあコーラもらうね。
I don't know if I'm supposed to do anything here. I've just pressed the trigger and it can do that. I don't know what it does.
Fine, I'll just take a soda.
As usual, she seemed to have no intention of asking for her brother's permission. She grabbed the bottle of soda, one that I'd already drank from, out of the fridge. She hesitated for a moment before swallowing it down. I could see her pale right throat moving up and down. I heard the sound of her gulping down the liquid. I think activating that trigger at that point has changed the game somehow. That might be a mechanic. I don't know what the red one is. I don't know if you have to leave it or if you have to press another button. But basically... If I've got to suffer, so must you. I'm not reading any of this out. Do your own reading here, people. Cancelled and stopped with an error, so in other words, it didn't clip. Maybe that's for the best. Maybe. She whispered in a barely audible voice, and her head dipped down. Her usual bratty attitude had disappeared completely. Unless I'm going insane, she's actually taken an item of clothing off. No. Yeah. Well, this game has gone left in that direction, people. We've gone that way.
関節だけじゃ嫌だな。
Skipping ahead. I'm not reading that. Moving on. That's how much I was freaking out. I didn't understand what the name meant. If you're clueless about this, dude, now's the time to be clueless.
お兄とキスしたいわ。お兄が
I know this game was translated from Japan, but on what planet is this okay? There isn't a red flag here. I'm not even seeing the ground. There are that many marinara flags in the air. I can't see beneath the wall of red cloth. I'm not reading it. I'm definitely not reading that. No, 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 no.
いいじゃん。
No, it is not. This is not okay. This is far south of okay. I'm not tiptoeing for a minefield here. I'm running full pelt and shooting the floor as I'm going.
16年間も我慢してたのよ。
That implies she's never not. Oh my god. This is horrific. This is worse than bath time. And if you know what I'm referencing, you know what I mean when I say it's bad. I'm not reading it.
キス
No. Please wake up from your delusion and have a slap you in the face with something. I don't want to see any more of this. Wake up. Wake the fuck up. No. Wake up. Oh no, don't make me do it. My answer was
いや、その理屈はおかしい。
no. Wait. That doesn't make any sense at all. Thank you! You finally did something right. This is just wrong. What kind of delusion was I having? I'm freaking myself out. I felt sick and disgusted with myself. Man, I am a creepy dude. Creepy. I am putting this on a different slot. And I want to see what it actually says for the tip for creepy. Yep, 2000 Japanese otaku will sometimes add to the stars to the word creepy to make it even creepier. You were timing it, Chris. You know, I always tell myself, if Nanami... So much for it just being wrong. Look at that line, people. And no, I'm not reading that one either. Huh?
どうしたの？
What's wrong? Nanami finished drinking her soda and looked at me in confusion. Crap. That delusion was making me feel all funny. I took a deep breath and wiped the disgusting delusion out of my mind. Oh, no, no, no. It's preserved forever. We have the receipts and the FBI are on their way.
もう帰れよ。
Go home. You confirmed that I was still alive. You should be done now, right? Why'd you have to come into my room all the time?
お兄、冷たい。
Brother, you're mean.
Nanami seemed annoyed at my words. She was glaring at me with a frown. I didn't want to deal with it, so I just looked away.
せっかく心配して様子を見に来てあげてるのに。
I came here because I'm worried about you.
兄ってずっとここに引きこもって誰とも喋らずに一日を終えちゃうことだってあるんでしょ？
You know, some days you stay in here the whole day and don't talk to a single person.
女の子と話す機会だってどうせ全くないんだよね。
You don't have a chance to talk to girls, I bet. Am I wrong?
Shut up. Don't make fun of me. I'm not interested in 3D girls. I don't need to talk to them.
言ってみればお兄と話す女の子はなんだだけってことじゃん。
I'm basically the only girl you talk to,
だ
right?
からさ、もっとナナのこと大事にしてよ。そしたら女の子との接し方もちょっとは分かってくるはずだし。
So treat me better. If you do, you'll start learning how to talk to girls.
As she spoke, she picked up one of my figurines. Hikaru's hand from suicide toward the light. She stared at it. Hey, don't touch one of my wives. If you get a fingerprint on her, I'm seriously gonna kick your butt.
あと、お兄は自分のことにもっと気を使って。
Also, take better care of
そ
yourself.
んなお人形さんにうつつを抜かしてる場合じゃないよ。ナナはお兄の死体の第一発見者になんかなりたくないからね。
Don't spend all day talking to your dolls. I don't want to be the one who finds your dead body, okay?
What was my little sister trying to say? She was starting to sound like my mom lately. What I meant by that was, she was annoying.
いいから帰れよ。
She just go away.
そんなに帰れ帰れ言わないでよ。お兄のバカ。
Big brother, you jerk! Stop telling me to
まだ
leave!
こっちには用事が残ってるの。
I'm still not done here yet.
Ugh. She was starting to get hysterical. If it made her any madder, she might go berserk. I had to stay calm.
携帯買いに行こ
Let's go buy a cell phone.
What? What was she talking
う。お
about?
父さんがそうしろって。お兄が携帯持てばいつでも生存確認できるじゃん。
Dad says you gotta. If you got a phone, we can always tell whether you're alive or not,
お
right?
金はナナが預かってきたから今から買いに行こうよ。今時携帯持ってない人なんていないよ。時代に取り残されちゃうよ。
They gave me the money for it, so let's go right now. Everybody's got a phone these days, you know. You're gonna be left behind, you know.
Shut up, trend follower. I know a lot more about what's popular than you do. I've got the internet, you know. Okay, maybe most kids my age have a phone, but I didn't. There was no reason why I would want one. I had nobody to call or text. I never spent money on something I wasn't going to use.
だから行こう。
So let's go, okay?
Then I put the figure back on the shelf and peered up at me.
どうせお兄は機種とかわかんないだろうからナナと同じ機種にしちゃいなよ。
You probably won't know which one to get, so just get the same one phone I have.
She took her phone out of her bag and waved it in my face.
ほら、これがナナの色が可愛いでしょ。
See? This one's mine. It's a cute color, right?
Who am I going to call, Chris? I'd be more than happy to call the Busters to bust this guy's arse. So you can tell the year this is because that is a Japanese flip phone. They fell out of fashion in about 2011 when smartphones took off. But I do miss these charms that hang off the side of technology. I miss those. I loved having phones and games consoles where you could hang little charms like off. They were brilliant. I have 2 on my 3DS.
ついでだからストラップも同じのあげるよ。
I'll give you a strap that matches mine, too.
Yeah, that's the Japanese colloquial word for it. They're called straps. My phone straps.
なんという電気キャラ。
Ugh. How lazy was the person who came up with this character? Hanging from the strap was a small figurine of a character that was, well, whatever it was, it certainly wasn't cute. It looked like something created by a rookie designer with no talent at all. It wasn't cute, or even creepy cute. It was just creepy. No, that's just a frog. And the flapper said a dapper one at that.
手抜きじゃないの。ゲロカイルンはこういうデザインなの。今すっごく流行ってるんだからね。
It's not lazy. This is Garo Froggy. He's really popular right now.
Yeah, as long as it's not the fucking crazy frog.
はあ、女子高生の流行なんてお兄が知ってるわけないか。
Yeah, I guess I gotta expect my big brother to know what teenage girls like.
そういうとこを直せば少しは女子と会話成立すると思うよ。きっと。
If you change that about yourself, though, you'd probably be able to actually talk to a girl. At least a little.
Quiet. Girl. What the hell kind of name is Giro Froggy? There was no way this thing was popular. The poor girl didn't realize she was being manipulated by the media.
っていうか今はゲロカイルンの話じゃなくて。
Anyway, we're not talking about Giro Froggy now.
いいから携帯買いに行こうよ。
Come on, let's go buy you a cell phone.
別にお揃いがいいとか言ってるわけじゃないからね。家族で同じ機種だと基本料金が割引されるサービスがあるからだよ。
Oh, and I'm not saying I want to set matching phones or anything, okay? You just get a discount if the whole family has the same
家
phone.
族で持ってないのはお兄だけなんだからね。
You're the only member of the family who doesn't have one.
いらない。
I don't need one.
なんで？お金はお父さんが出してくれるんだよ。
But why not? Dad's even paying for it.
必要ない。
I don't need one. It would just be a nuisance. If I had a phone, Mom would probably call every day. And if I didn't pick up, she'd send a pet assassin Nanami here to check on me. In other words, it would just be a nuisance. One that would make my life a lot harder. I didn't want that at all. Which is interesting because I get a phone call maybe once a week. So, it shows how times have changed.
もう信じらんないよこのバカ鬼。もう帰る。
I can't believe you, brother. You jerk. I'm going home.
そうしてくれ。
Yeah, please do. Oh! I opened the door for her to go, but she didn't move. She just glared at me, shoulders heaving with rage.
ほんとバカ。アホバカ鬼。駅まで送ってくれるとかしてよ。
You really are stupid. You're a stupid jerk. At least walk with me to the station.
嫌だね。
No. I never walked to the station all the time she'd come here before. Why would I start now?
だって最近殺人事件とかで物騒じゃんか。こういう場合心配するのが兄弟ってもんでしょ。
There's been all those creepy murders lately, right? Shouldn't you be worried about your little sister?
For a moment, what happened yesterday felt like it was going to come flooding back to me. I shook my head desperately, trying to drive the thought out of my mind.
どうでもいいし。
I don't care. Whoever the new gen killer was, they weren't going to be interested in a little kid like Nanami.
ありえない。
I can't believe you.
親が死んでもいいって言うんだ。
This lady don't care if I die.
I'm not doing the crime. She was crying. I must have really made her sad. Well, gee! You literally said you don't care when she was talking about she might get killed. Case surprise that she found that upsetting. You might as well have said, here, would you like the knife? You know what I mean? Come on. You got the once a week to make sure you're alive call, Chris. Yeah, I get it. I relate. Really? Really? Wow. What an absolute tool. Your little way of getting revenge is making your sister think that you want her to die. Wow. I thought you were a piece of shit before, but you're definitely a piece of shit now. I'm not doing that sound.
You jerk! I hope you die! I hope a serial killer gets you and you die!
She knocked me aside and ran out the door. Phew. At last the storm was over. The room was quiet now that she was gone. It was much nicer. The base was my home. Nothing was allowed to happen here unless I wanted it to. I sat down on the computer and moved the mouse a little to wake it up from my Saratan screensaver. Then I took a big swig from the soda bottle on the table. But it was empty.
しまった。これ、ナナミがさっき飲んだやつだ。
Oh crap. This was the one Namami was drinking out of. Ugh. Oh no. I just had an indirect kiss of my little sister. No, you didn't. Get that fantasy out of your fucking mind now. No! No, it wouldn't have been sweeter. No, it wouldn't have been great. You're a dickhead. I closed the cap on the bottle and threw it into the big garbage bag in the corner of the room. It missed and bounced off the wall, rolling under the bed. But whatever. Now then. Time to get back to ESO. Time to forget all the annoying stuff that happened in the real world. But sadly, I was forced to bring my time in Baseline to an end after just a single day. When I left the base early in the morning, my mental state was back in the dumps, and any improvement that I'd felt from my time in the game was gone. Why did I have to go to school?
なんで今日なんだよ。最低最悪だ。
Why did it have to be today? This sucks. But I couldn't stay home. If I stayed home, it would ruin my whole attendance schedule. Then I wouldn't be able to graduate.
卒業って。何を卒業するって言うんだよ。
Graduate. Why the hell do I need to graduate anyway? It was my idea, but still, I couldn't help but complain. When I got to the luxury residences at Shoto, I suddenly realised I'd been feeling someone looking at me the whole time. But it wasn't God's gaze. There wasn't that weird feeling on my neck. As I turned the corner, I took a quick glimpse behind me without turning around, and caught a glimpse of a girl in a Suime uniform. Was it the demon from 2 days ago? Suddenly my heart started to pound. I was so nervous that I started to walk funny. I started to feel like I no longer belonged in the quiet morning around me. I could hear the sound of birds chirping on the power lines and the faint sound of the morning news from the televisions inside the houses around me. This didn't feel like a place where any kind of murder could happen. And yet, I felt like I was about to have delusions of myself being brutally killed. No, I needed to calm down. I hadn't gotten a clearer look at their face, had I? And if they were a Suime student, it was only natural that they'd be following me. They were headed to school, just like I was. Okay, I had an idea. Instead of following the path that led straight towards school, I made a right instead. I fought down the urge to turn around and tried to act as naturally as possible. I kept walking, trying to contain my nervousness, and after a minute, I quietly turned around. Our eyes almost met, and I quickly turned my gaze forward again. Why was she following me? This wasn't the way to school. Was she actually tailing me? It was a face I didn't recognise. The one thing I could tell for sure, though, was that it wasn't the demon from the other day. This girl had glasses. Just knowing that alone made me feel much more relieved. I decided I should head straight to school. I had to cancel my usual morning breakfast, but I didn't have a choice.
くそ、女子 A め。
Damn you, girl A. Whoa, hold on. Are we suddenly in the second chapter of Danganronpa 2? Girl A, Girl B, Girl C, Girl D, and Girl E. Am I going to start playing Twilight Syndrome, Murder Syndrome, or the hell it was called? Speaking of which, Chunsoft, when is Danganronpa 2X2 coming out? Tell us the date. Yes, Chris, maybe it was the demon, but Clark Kent glasses mean you can't tell who they are. Never understood that one personally. To me, you're just pedestrian number 1, or girl A. No more important than that, so go away. Girl A stopped tailing me and disappeared when I got to the school entrance. She seemed to have somewhere else to go, so she headed for the third-year student classrooms. Maybe I was just imagining her tailing me. But it didn't make sense that she'd follow me down a route that led away from the school. No, it does not. I'm going to go over the very first. Let's save. Was she just trying to upset me? Had I done something to make her mad? No, I hadn't. There was no way I could. At this school I was as invisible as the air. So what was she after? I somehow made it through an awful day at school, and as always, stopped at a cafe on my way home. Of course, I sat in room 37. Usually the rooms around me were empty, but surprisingly enough, there was somebody in room 36 today. The door to the room was closed. I could see the desk light was turned on inside. I sighed a little as I went into my own room. It's interesting, Chris, when you say that, because not only is there Final Fantasy VII Revelation coming out in 2027, but in February 2027, Persona 4 Revival is also coming out, the remake of Persona 4. That's 2 games that are likely to draw an audience from the Danganronpa 2X2. So I'm quite surprised that they're choosing that period. I guess we'll just have to wait. Having someone next door made it hard to chat. I was the kind of person who always said things out loud when he chatted. Well, whatever. Time to just log into ESO. I'd have to be careful not to say anything. What's their problem? I slammed my palm down on the keyboard, annoyed. Very true, actually. Yep. Very fair point, Chris. I've been playing for about 2 hours now. Today was just a stressful day. The pair I grouped up with were clearly new players. As always, I stayed in the background, trying to let them have the glory for themselves. But one would always run in ahead of us and die, and then do it again. And his name was Leroy Jenkins. The other, a mage, refused to use any magic to help us. Our party must have died a dozen times, and on top of that, all they did was complain in the chat. Freaking idiots. I got so mad I PK'd them, took all their items and then quickly escaped to another area. Now, to be fair, John Cena would have been appropriate for the school when he was saying he was invisible, because you can't see me. King Heartwood couldn't do that stuff, but at least Lottie could. That's why I came all the way to that cafe to log in. I felt a little better, so I decided to take a break and go get something to drink. Our cafe had free drinks and a well-stocked soda fountain near the counter. The one problem with room 37, staring at it and they came back, they might think I was a stalker or a thief. I decided to forget about it and go get my soda. But when I saw what was showing on their monitor, my eyes went wide. The monitor was displaying the words, New Gen Aggregator Site. It was in a really nasty looking, attention-grabbing font too. New Gen. I'd been deliberately avoiding looking up anything about it. I didn't want to know the details. That was how I was telling myself that it had nothing to do with me. Anyway, was there a reason the person who just happened to be in the next room to me, at a net cafe, was looking at a New Gen Aggregator site? For a moment, I saw the demon girl's face again, and my whole body shivered. I shook my head to drive away the negative thoughts. I was overthinking it. Yeah, I was just being paranoid. New Gen was the media's favourite subject right now, and not a day went by when the TV talk shows weren't discussing it. Everybody was interested in it. That was the only reason. Yeah, it had to be. Time to forget about it and go get my soda. I put my cup under the dispenser and pushed the button for soda. Ice cold soda came down, right into the cup. The sun was setting and it was starting to get crowded. I could see a small line of people waiting at the register. As it got later, more and more people were going to come. In an hour or so, all the rooms around 37 would be full. That would probably be my cue to go home. I took my cup and went back to my seat. As I walked back, I took a quick glance down the corridor that led to the restrooms. I saw a girl with glasses and a Suime uniform disappearing down the end of the hall. It was Girl A, the one who'd been following me this morning.
Eh?
I thought I must have been mistaken, so I hid behind a bookshelf and watched the corridor for a while, but I never saw her again. Must have been imagining it, right? Yeah, I'd only seen her for a second, and there were probably a ton of Suime girls who used this cafe, a lot of whom probably wore glasses. But what if it was Girl A? What was she doing here? Was it just a coincidence, or had she followed me? I started to feel scared. I left the cafe and hurried back to base. I got too scared to stay. I wanted to go home as fast as possible, but the streets were crowded with people, and I couldn't move forward as fast as I wanted. I was starting to feel sick. I hated crowds. It felt like everyone was laughing at me. The crosswalk turned red, so I had to stop. I took a quick look around. There was no sign of Girl A. As I headed up Dogenzaka Hill, walking got a lot easier. Usually, I chose to take the back streets where there weren't as many people. But after what happened 2 days ago, I decided to take the main streets instead. I came to another red light, looked around again, but there was no sign of Girl A. Maybe the person I'd seen at cafe was someone else after all. I relaxed a little, relieved, and turned around. I took a step back in shock. So basically, you lock in with the you can use like the R wants to go red, or that wants to go green. Interesting. So I might have had a choice mechanic here. So I want to see what happens. There, on the other side of the crosswalk, standing with the pedestrians waiting to cross, was the girl, and her eyes, behind the glasses, were locked dead onto me. Her eyes were intense, as if she was trying to send some kind of message. So I started out by making no choice at all, then a green choice and now a red choice. Interesting. Maybe it was just a reflection from a passing car, but a flash of light illuminated the lenses of her glasses. I heard it. Her lips twisted as if she was mocking me. There was so much distance between us. There were so many people around us. But still, I could hear her tiny laugh. And as she laughed, I'm gonna say it, but we'll see what happens. She suddenly lifted up her skirt. Dozens of small, shiny objects fell out from inside it. They looked like crosses. I remembered the crucifixion I'd seen the other day. The look on her face was sheer insanity. Her eyes were bloodshot, her cheeks frozen, and a smile was on her lips. Then, for some reason, she started to walk across the street, even though the light was still red as her eyes. I shriveled up in fear and tried to run, but my legs were rooted to the ground. I couldn't even speak. She was getting closer, crossing the street, the cross-shaped stakes in her hand. Stay away! I screamed in my mind, and then... Oh! She was hit by a truck that was driving down the road and thrown down the street. We've just been saved by Truck Coon. In a way, that's the most anime troll thing I've ever seen. But at the same time, brah, what the fuck? The people around me started to scream. There were too many people between us for me to see what had happened to her. But I was sure that she was dead. She was dead for sure. She was lying on the ground, broken, bones shattered, and covered in blood. I'm saved. I told myself, even though I knew it was a terrible thing to think. I came back to my senses. My body was soaked with an awful sweat. The people around me weren't screaming anymore. They were simply waiting for the light to change. There was no sign of any truck. And the girl on the other side of the street was still there, staring. Was what I'd just seen just a delusion? The light changed. The crowd began to move. I couldn't move. Girl A didn't move. She didn't smile or flip up her skirt. She just stared at me. It was as if time had stopped for the two of us, and no one else. Why wasn't she moving? Why was she just standing there? It didn't make sense. It was weird. I shouldn't get involved. I needed to run. I needed to run while I could. Run! I forced my timid mind into action and ran as fast as I could. I ran in the opposite direction from her and down a side street I saw. I collided with something and fell on the ground, hard, hitting my shoulder. I gasped in agony as pain raced through my whole body. I couldn't tell what had happened. It was all I could do to sit up. When I looked, there was a large scooter in the middle of the street that I knocked over. I must have collided with it. I gritted my teeth and tried to force myself to stand up, but I couldn't feel any strength in my legs. I didn't think anything was broken, but...
大丈夫ですか?
Are you okay?
Girl A was there. She must have caught up to me at some point. She was looking down at me, worried. What? What the hell was going on? Who was this woman? My body wouldn't move. I was too scared. I didn't know what to do. It was too late now. But I regretted not taking the train to Shinsen.
怪我してませんか?
Are you hurt?
Her voice was timid and hesitant. Was she trying to act worried to get me to let my guard down? You're not going to fool me. I won't let any 3D girls fool me.
なんなんだよ.
What do you want? And yes, Chris, I think he has many, many issues.
Huh?
ついてくるなよ.
Don't follow
僕
me.
に何の用だ?
What do you want from me? I yelled at her. I still couldn't stand up, so I crawled away. If I didn't put some distance between us, I was afraid she might pull a knife on me. That terrible sight came back to me again and again. And I kept feeling like it was going to happen to me too. She seemed hurt.
あなたが急に走り出して様子を見に来たら倒れてたので心配で。でも今は用事とかあるわけじゃないんですが、
You just started running, so I got worried and followed you. I saw you lying on the ground, and but I don't have anything to talk to you about right now. So
You don't have anything to talk to me about. What does that mean?
じゃあ、なんで付きまとってくるんだ
Then why are you following me?
それは、
It's because... She was stammering. It was really suspicious. Queen, what have you missed? No spoilers in the chat, people. Let's just say you need to watch the archive. That's all I'm gonna say.
私、楠木ゆあって言います。
My name is Kusunoki Yua.
Huh? I hadn't asked, but she introduced herself anyway.
実は、あなたのこと、一目見て、なんとなく存在が気になって。
When I saw you, I kind of got curious about you, and
それで、つい。
so
So, you started stalking me. The girl, Kusunoki, was staring at the ground as she
ご
talked.
めんなさい。
I'm sorry.
She bowed. Impossible. That was my honest reaction. Now that I got a clear look at her, this Kusunoa girl was pretty cute. I'll admit that. Ah, so much for not liking 3D girls. But that doesn't mean I could believe it. A 3D girl? Interested in me? What kind of H-game scenario was that? That had never happened in my entire life. It sounded to me like an obvious lie. Did she think this would make me happy? Especially when she'd been acting like a stalker a moment ago? Maybe if she was 2D, it might work. But a 3D girl like that was just a weirdo. Scary. I mean, the only person who's a weirdo is the one who refers to people who are flesh and blood as 3D and has a fixation towards 2D image sprites. You know what I mean? Now, Queen, don't go defending him. Wait until you see the archive. And that's all I have to say about that. I felt really embarrassed, just being here too. I wanted to get out of here as soon as possible. 3D girls were just the worst. Even talking to one made you nervous.
僕は三次元に興味はないよ。
I'm not interested in 3D.
Huh?
いや、
No, you... I tried to say something harsh, but hesitated. But I knew if I didn't say it, she'd keep stalking me. I didn't want that.
迷惑だよ。付きまとわないでよ。
You're a weirdo. Leave me alone.
すいません。
Sorry.
She looked sad. Did she really feel bad about it, maybe? No. I couldn't let her fool me. I couldn't believe in any 3D person. I only believed in 2D. Nothing else. I could trust Sarah-tan a lot more than I could trust her.
もうついてこないでね。
Just leave me alone.
僕帰るから。
I'm going home. I forced myself to stand up as I stammered out the words. My whole body still hurt, especially my shoulder. I could barely move it, and every so often I felt a dull ache from it. The pain was making me a little dizzy. I might have hit my head a little when I landed. Oh, you hit your head somewhere, mate. I'll tell you that for free. I staggered for a moment, and Kusunoa quickly grabbed my hand.
怪我してるんですね。手貸します。
You're hurt, right? Let me help you.
It was all I could do, not to turn around to look at her. I knew my face was bright red. If she saw it, she'd definitely make fun of me. I knocked her hand away so that I could turn away from her. My mind was going blank. I almost never had a chance to touch a girl who wasn't a family member. I could feel my heartbeat
お
quickening.
家まで送ります。あなたが怪我したのは、私が付きまとっちゃったせいですから。
Let me walk you home. You got hurt because I was following
だ
you.
から、送らせてください。
So, let me walk you home.
I appreciated her offer. I wasn't used to having anybody be nice to me, and I felt like I might actually fall in love with this 3D girl I'd hated just a moment ago. But that didn't mean I had the courage to look straight at her. And anyway, she was a stalker. And she might have something to do with that demon girl too. I didn't want to die. So many different thoughts were racing through my head that I didn't know what I felt anymore.
お家どこですか？
Where do you live?
深セン。
Oh, Shinsei.
深セン？
Sinsen?
I nodded and then realised what I'd done. Why the hell did I tell her that? What was I expecting to happen? This was just a delusion anyway. Or even if it wasn't, I would only be happy for a while before it all got ruined at the last second. That's how it always worked out in anime, right? I could feel the death flags popping up by the second. Crap, 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 crap. Now she was up against me, trying to help me walk. I could feel her soft body against mine. Her hair smelled good. Impossible. No 3D girl would ever be this nice to me.
歩けますか？
Can you walk?
I nodded
じゃ
again.
あ、行きましょう。
Then let's go.
She sounded nervous, and she was watching my feet as we slowly walked. At this point, I didn't feel I could refuse or shake her off. Helplessly, I let her tiny body support me as we went. Neither I nor Kusunoha said a word until we got into the building where the base was at. There was no way I could have a real conversation with a girl. Even if I talked about anime, or games, or figures, a 3D girl would never try to understand. She'd just tell me I was creepy. And from my perspective, there was no point in talking to worthless girls like that. Yeah, worthless girls who helped you up while you were injured, helped walk you home and made you feel safe. Yeah, real fucking worthless, pal. Wow. This guy's got issues, and one of them is being in touch with reality.
ここでもういいから。
This is far enough, I whispered, then watched to see how she reacted. She nodded slightly and then let go of me. I still staggered a
や
little.
っぱり、お部屋までついていきましょうか。
Are you sure you don't want me to take you to your room?
I ignored her and headed for the building's lobby. I say lobby, but it was really just a narrow hallway leading to some elevators. There was a small staircase, and when I tried to go up it, I felt an incredible pain almost knock me over.
大丈夫ですか？
Are you okay?
She ran over and grabbed me. Damn it! Was she still
や
here?
っぱり部屋まで送ります。絶対送りますから。
I need to take you to your room. I'm going to do it no matter what you say.
For some reason, she seemed really desperate. To be honest, she'd been a big help in getting me this far. My base was on the roof, and to get there, you had to take the elevator to the 8th floor, then go up a steep staircase. I couldn't have done it on my own. She didn't look that strong, but she'd done everything she could to help me get up. She'd been supporting me for so long she was out of breath.
こんなところに住んでるんですね。
You live here? Huh?
She looked at the shipping container in shock. I guess to most people, living in a shipping container was really weird. Yes. Yes, it is.
なんか、憧れます。
I'm kind of jealous.
Huh?
アウトローな感じがして、いいですよね。こういうのって。
It's got this kind of outlaw feeling to it, you know?
I certainly wasn't expecting her to say that. Was she trying to suck up to me? You can't fool me. I'm not letting 3D girls fool me. With her help, I unlocked the padlock and went inside. And I'm with you, Chris. Why would you be jealous of someone living in a bleeding shipping container? Phew, I was finally home. What another awful day. I resolved never to leave my room if I could help it.
真っ暗ですね。電気のスイッチはどこに？
It's so dark. Where's the light switch?
She'd come right inside my room without bothering to ask. Well, I guess it was because she'd been helping me walk this whole time. But still, I didn't really want her seeing the inside of my room. There was a whole shelf of figures and H-game boxes on the bed and garbage all over the floor.
もういいから。話して。
I'm fine. You can let go. I waited for her to remove her hand, but she didn't.
床、すごく散らかって。じゃなくて、歩きにくいと思うんですけど、絶対危ないです。
The floor's a disgusting mess. I mean, it's probably really hard to walk on it. It's dangerous.
ソファーまで行きましょう。そこで話しますから。
Let's get you to the sofa. Then I'll let you go.
In the end, I did as she told me. There were CDs and magazines all over the sofa, but she cleared a spot for me to sit down. She was really kind and considerate. Wait, I wasn't going to let her fool me. Not a
平
chance.
気ですか？
Are you alright?
うん。
Yeah. It was just me and her inside the room. The door was still open and a little bit of moonlight was coming in through it, but the room was mostly pitch black. It was too dark to read the expression on her face, but the fact that I couldn't see her made the sound of her breathing seem almost seductive somehow. I realized this was the first time I let a girl besides my sister into my room, and she was also someone I barely even knew. If this was a game, it would mean she was totally into me. Maybe there'd be a situation where things would keep going and I'd end up kissing her, but that wasn't what I was expecting. Reality was always cruel. It wasn't like 2D. And this girl wasn't normal either. She was a stalker. How long was she going to keep standing there anyway? Now that she'd seen me home, shouldn't she be going? Then I realized. Was she waiting to get me alone so she could do something horrible to me?
明かりのスイッチは。
Where's the light switch?
パソコンの。
Oh, the computer.
パソコン？
Computer?
The only light in this room was the desk, right next to the computer. I tried to tell her, but I couldn't.
そうか。あのデスクライトですね。
Oh, I see. Over on the desk.
うん。
Yeah. She carefully dodged around the garbage on the floor as she walked over to the computer desk and turned on the light. The room was finally freed from the darkness. When it was dark, the fact that I couldn't see made me imagine all kinds of different delusions, but being able to see her wasn't much better. I felt twice as embarrassed as before. I felt dead silent and quickly turned my face down.
Huh?
The sudden gasp startled me. I looked and saw what she was looking at. The figure of Sarah Tan next to my computer monitor.
これって、プラチューのセイラちゃんですよね。
This is Sarah from Platoon, right?
Huh?
知ってるの？
You know her?
はい。プラチューは大好きで、毎週見てます。
Yes, I love Platoon. I watch it every week.
へえ。
Huh?
セイラちゃんがお好きなんですね。私もヒロインの中では彼女が一番好きなんですよ。衣装も可愛いですし。
I really like Sarah. She's my favorite heroine. Her outfit's cute.
There was a note of happiness in her voice. She seemed like she was telling the truth. That was surprising. Was she
不女子。
Joshi?
あ、うん。
Oh, no. She was just an anime fan, I
あれ、
guess.
フィギュアって言うんですよね。ちょっと見せてもらってもいいですか？
This is what you call a figure, right? Can I take a look?
すみません。ずうずうしいこと言っちゃって。
Oh.
もう帰った方がいいですよね。
Oh, sorry. I know that's rude of me. I should just be going.
She started to bow apologetically.
見ていいよ。
You can take a look. I didn't mind when somebody complimented my waifu. I guess I could be a little nice to her.
本当ですか？ありがとうございます。
Really? Thank you.
She picked up Sarah and began to examine her.
それは山陽堂版の覚醒前バージョンなんだ。セーラフィギュアはいくつか種類が出てるけど、最初に出たやつ。
That's the pre-awakening version that Sayonara made. There are a bunch of Sarah figures out there, but this is the first one that was ever made.
へえ。
あんまりクオリティは高くないよ。顔とか微妙に崩れてるし、ポーズも平凡すぎてあんまりエロくないし。
The quality isn't very good. The face is kind of wrong in spots, and the pose is really generic. Not sexy at all.
でも服の胸元部分をキャストオフできるのは今のところそれだけなんだ。
But right now, it's the only one that has cast off. So you can take her top... Oh, really? Go on then, tell us what cast off is. Yep, where you can easily remove parts and... do that. Yeah.
胸元？
ちなみに僕はセーラフィギュアは4種類全部揃えてるよ。そっちの棚に制服バージョンとメイドバージョン、あと水着バージョンがある。
Also, I've got all 4 versions of her figures. On that shelf, you'll see her uniform version, her maid version, and her swimsuit version.
そんなに種類が。すごいですね。
There's that many? Wow! I mean, 4's not a lot. If anyone's seen my shelf of Love Life figurines, you'll know exactly what I mean. What? I'm allowed to be a nerd as well?
一番評価が高いのはメイドバージョンなんだけど、個人的には水着バージョンも悪くないよ。
The maid version has the best reviews, but personally, I like the swimsuit version.
そうなんですか。見てみたいですね。
I see.
でもちょっと暗くて。
I'd love to see them, but it's a little dark.
もうすぐアルファから待望の覚醒後バージョンが出るんだけど、これはかなりクオリティ高そうなんだ。
Alpha's finally about to release the post-awakening version, and it's going to be really high quality.
キャストオフも胸元だけじゃなくてほぼ全身可能だっていうし、表情もポーズも質感も言うことなしだね。
I'm not reading that one.
あとはカラーさえバッチリなら今年発売されたフィギュアの中でも MVP 候補だよ。
If they can get the colouring right, it might be one of the best figures of the year.
アルファ？
Alpha?
メーカーだよ、フィギュアの。
A manufacturer of figures.
なるほど。
Oh, I see.
Suddenly I gasped. I realised that I'd talked way too much. And about anime figures too. I also had the feeling I'd said all kinds of really embarrassing things. About taking off clothes or sexy poses too. Oh, believe me, I was embarrassed for you. I wanted to see what the expression on her face was, but I didn't have the courage. She was probably looking at me like I was a piece of human garbage. My heart was pounding as fast as I tried to look away. When she said my name, I turned to face before I realised what I'd done. The look of disgust and contempt I expected, it wasn't there.
さっき言っていた戦闘バージョンとかメイドバージョンも見せてもらっていいですか？
When did he mention a combat version?
Can I see the combat version, the maid version you were talking about?
うん。
Huh?
そっちの棚に。
Yeah, they're on that shelf. I didn't know how to react. She was smiling and looking like she was having a great time.
すごいですね。こんなにたくさん。
Wow, this is amazing. Look at them all.
As she stared at the shelf of figures, her eyes were smiling brightly. I couldn't believe that a 3D girl could look at these and not be freaked out. Was the world a bigger place than I'd thought it was?
メイドセイラちゃんってこれですね。ふむふむ。アニメの印象とはちょっと違うけど、すごく可愛いです。
Oh, this is maid Sarah. Huh? It's a little different than the anime, but still really cute.
下着までちゃんと作り込んであるんだ。こういうの実物で見たのは初めてですけど、いいですね。私も買ってみようかな。
I'm going to say it as embarrassing as it is.
You even put a bunch of effort into the underwear too. I've never seen the real thing before, but this is great. Maybe I'll buy one too.
だったら覚醒後バージョンを予約した方がいいよ。あれは絶対おすすめだから。
If you're interested, you should put in a reservation for the post-awakening version. It's going to be awesome.
そうですね。あなたの話を聞いていたら、その覚醒後バージョンは本気で欲しくなりました。
You're right. Listening to you made me really want one.
覚醒後って12話のあのシーンのことですよね。
Post-awakening we've been from that scene in episode 12, right?
よく知ってますな、お主。かなりのマニアですな。
You recognize it, huh? You must be a really big fan.
好きですから。特にあの時の覚醒シーンは 毎日録画したものを見返してます。
Yes, I really am. Every day, I watched a copy of the awakening scene that I recorded.
あのシーンって演出と作画宮地なんだ。だからクオリティ高くて当然。
The direction and animation for that scene were done by Miyagi, so of course it's going to be high quality.
宮地？
Miyachi?
そういう神クリエイターがいるんだ。あの人の演出はマジで神だよ。アットちゃんの実況版でも神来たってなるし。
That's the name of this god-level creator. His directing is incredible. Whenever he does something, Achan freaks out.
そうなんですか。
I see.
すごく知識が豊富なんですね。私、スタッフが誰かなんてまるで気にしてませんでした。
You really know a lot about it, huh? I never put any thought into who the staff
監
were.
督と演出と脚本はチェックしとくといいよ。特に新作なんかはそれを調べるだけで内容の良し悪しが大体予測できるし。
You should always look at who does the series directing, episode directing, and scripting. For new stuff, that alone will tell you whether it's going to be good or not.
わかりました。今度からそうしてみますね。
All right, I'll do that from now on.
She was still smiling at me with a pretty smile. The girl. Smiling at me. I thought it only happened in the H games, but now it's happening to me. But whenever 3D girls were smiling at me, it's because they were making fun of me. She was up to something. I knew it. I couldn't forget Sarah Tan's words.
Don't believe anybody. Don't listen to anything anyone says.
Huh?
こんなこと聞いていいかどうかわからないんですけど。
I don't know if it's okay for me to ask, but...
何？
What? She started to fidget a little. She was... Oh no. That moe pose is enough to almost make me pass out. Was you as type quiet older girl? She was trying to seduce me. She was dangerous. She was definitely up to something.
それで、西条くんにお願いがあるんです。
So, Nishijo, I have a request.
A request? Don't tell me.
私、あなたのことが
I'm
好きなんです。
in love with you.
ずっと西条くんのこと見てました。
I've always been watching you.
もう見てるだけじゃ嫌なんです。
And I don't want to just watch anymore.
Her face was now bright red. For some reason, as she talked, she started to take off her jacket. We shall see if you're right on that one, Queen. It might not be quite where you're expecting it to go. Oh, she glanced at me and smiled, and then began to take off her skirt as well. I could catch tiny glimpses of you-know-what from beneath her blouse. They were black. She got a lot of points for managing to look embarrassed while doing something so bold, but I'm an insult twat who's now imagining someone stripping naked in my apartment. And I'm the one talking about points, people. My brain was having trouble keeping up with these sudden developments. All I could do was watch in awe. She put her hand towards the buttons on her blouse. Yep. Oh boy. I don't know if I want to carry on describing the scene, so this might become text only for a while, people. Yep. And then slowly, teasingly, she dropped her blouse to the floor. For some reason, she was wearing underneath it a competition swimsuit. Oh god. Skin tight, high cut, crease. What I thought was black panties was actually a competition swimsuit. And I've now got the police knocking on my door. That's what's happening now, people. The bosher will be knocking down the door and you'll be seeing me dragged out that way with a taser on my arse and mace in my face. She looked like a quiet girl, but she actually had a really... Yes. Also, GJ on not taking the socks off. Let me guess. GJ is good job. Yep, called it. I feel dirty for calling that one. But...
私のこと好きにしてください。
No, no, no.
めちゃくちゃにしていいですから。
Nope. Not today.
な、
What? All I could do was stand there in shock. No 3D girl would ever do this for a guy she just met. Not normally anyway. It just didn't happen. It was hot, but it wasn't Moe. No, Chris, it's my stream, it's my rules. I used every ounce of mental strength I had to avoid giving in to temptation. But I refuse! As I stood there enjoying my delusion, she suddenly fell backward and landed on her butt. She was rubbing her behind, looking a little tear. Sure, she and I had the same hobbies.
また明日。
See you tomorrow, Nishijo.
また明日だってさ。
See you tomorrow, she said,
しかも手を振ったりして。
and she even waved at me. I felt a grin coming on, but forced myself to stop.
あの女絶対僕に惚れてる。間違いないね。
She's in love with me. I'm sure of it.
まあ、付き合うか付き合わないかは僕に選択肢があるわけだし、あの女を情け容赦なく振ってやるさ。
Wow, what a douchebag. Well, it's up to me whether I actually date her or not, right? I'll just dump her, brutally and without mercy.
お前は僕の女にふさわしくない。セイラよりいい女になって出直してこい。まあ、一生無理だけどな。何しろセイラは永遠の17歳だからな。みたいな。
As painful as this line is, I'm going to read it out because it's an absolute knobhead. You're not worthy of being my girlfriend. Come back when you're a better girl than Sarah. I bet that's impossible, though. Sarah's going to be 17 forever, after all. Something like that. No girl could be better than Sarah Tan. Sarah Tan is Monica. I picked up the figure and rubbed it against my cheeks. Sarah Tan looked happy.
おっと時間か。今のところテストに出るからな。ちゃんとノート書いておけよ。今日はここまで。
And as awkward a time as that is, that's where we're actually going to wrap up, believe it or not, because I need to make sure that we don't go on all night. So yes, I did say that this game was chaos. I did say my stream was chaos. But by God, did I not expect this? We have found ourselves going on a trip which I don't think any of us are ever going to come back from. In the interim, on Friday evening, I will be back one more time at 8 PM BST as we carry on trailing from zero. So do be right here, twitch.tv/switchbone. On the Saturday evening, if you want to get a break from this kind of insanity, go and check out twitch.tv/ChrisJT1985, where he's going to be entering uncharted space as we carry on playing Star Wars Outlaws. So do check that out. You can go see that on Friday, from Saturday evening, 8 PM BST. Also, thank you for dropping the link in the chat. If you want to see the archive of this stream and all the previous ones I've done, go to youtube.com/@swishbone and also youtube.com/@ChrisJT1985 for the archives of his streams. And lastly, go and check out youtube.com/@Queen3210, where there's the ongoing playthrough of Final Fantasy IV, featuring me, the long-going first-person exploration of Blueprints, the recently completed Persona 3 Reload playthrough, the gone through of Dispatch, the classic streams of Danganronpa and Phoenix Wright, many, many more. Do go check all those out. Like, share, subscribe. And thank you all very, very much for watching. And I need to go and unplug from this fucking chaos head. What an incel twat.